Chapter 2188, Chapter 2188, Ill Intentions. Chapter 2188, Chapter 2188 Ill Intentions. After the blue-robed youth's explanation, he finally understood the general situation. They were now in the middle of the battlefield of the two heaven regions, an ancient battlefield. In the past, many peerless experts had fought each other. This place was filled with terrifying killing intent, and the immortal marks left by the peerless experts would actively kill the experts who entered this place. Therefore, it was impossible to enter this hell in the past. However, not long ago, a change occurred. This area became accessible. Lu Ming could not help but think of the armored figure he had seen before. He held a spear in his hand and was shouting to kill. Could it be that the figure had died in the battle back then and left behind an inextinguishable mark? However, his cultivation was too weak, so the mark did not attack him. To those peerless powerhouses in the world, his cultivation base was indeed too weak. Could the changes in this area be related to the great battle? Lu Ming thought about it and felt that it was very likely. However, this area still has the mark of a peerless expert. Those below the true Emperor realm won't be in trouble if they enter, but it's hard to say for those above the true Emperor realm. The higher their cultivation, the more dangerous it is. So, this is our chance. The blue-robed young man's eyes flashed with a fiery light. Then, the blue-robed young man looked at Lu Ming with an inexplicable smile at the corner of his mouth. "Brother Lu, since you've come here by accident, why don't we travel together? If we encounter any opportunities, we can split them equally." "All right." Lu Ming pondered for a moment and nodded in agreement. He had just arrived in the heaven realm and had many questions to ask. It was best to have a companion. Immediately, the three of them moved forward together. However, the three of them didn't dare to move too fast. No one had entered this ancient battlefield since ancient times. No one knew what dangers there would be. Not long after, the three of them encountered another inextinguishable imprint. This time, it wasn't a human, but a giant bird. Its aura was wild, and its killing intent soared into the sky. The bird's cold gaze swept over the three of them, but it didn't make a move. After a while, it disappeared. The three of them heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, their cultivation wasn't strong. If it had been a powerful existence, they would probably have been attacked by these marks. These imprints were definitely extremely powerful when they were alive. Legend had it that this battlefield was one of the most powerful battlefields between the heaven realm and the alien race. Those who could participate in the battle were all unimaginably powerful. Therefore, the marks left behind by these powerhouses were also extremely terrifying. He had once entered this place with a great emperor and was immediately killed by the imprint. Even a heavenly emperor had entered this place and died. From this, one could see how terrifying these imprints were when they were alive. Along the way, Lu Ming asked around and learned a lot of information. The blue-robe young man was called LAN Yun. The middle-aged man was called LAN Songshi. They were outside the battlefield, training in the camp of the Tai Ching heavenly region and fighting with the alien races. This time, many people knew about the changes in the ancient battlefield. In addition to them, many people from the Heaven Realm army camp had also rushed over. After all, the people who had participated in the battle were too powerful. Even though countless years had passed and many things might have rotted, there might still be some treasures left that hadn't rotted. As long as one could obtain one, it would be a great opportunity. It was not surprising that many people came to explore. The alien races would probably send people over as well. The three of them continued to search the area. However, the place was deathly silent and empty. There was nothing there. 2 hours later, suddenly, their eyes lit up. In front of him was a messy pile of rocks. In the middle of the rocks was a skeleton. From his posture, he seemed to be sitting on the ground. In his hand was a broken sword. Once a martial arts expert reached the Saint Realm, it would be extremely difficult for his body to corrode. At the martial emperor realm, one's physical body was said to be immortal. But everything was relative. It could last for 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 years without rotting. However, what about 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, or even longer? With the passage of time, everything would eventually corrode. The skeleton in front of him might have been a peerless expert when he was alive. The few of them glanced at the finger of this expert, but unfortunately, they didn't see a storage ring. Even storage rings would be corroded over the years, and the items inside could be swept into the void. It was obvious that this being's storage ring had already been corroded. Then, their eyes fell on the broken sword in Skeleton's hand. The broken sword was indeed covered in rust, but after such a long time, even the physical body and storage ring of this unparalleled expert had been corroded. However, the broken sword had remained. This was definitely a shocking treasure. Especially LAN Yun and LAN Songshi, their eyes were shining with a fiery light. "Brother Lu, why don't you go and get the broken sword?" LAN Yun spoke and looked at Lu Ming with a faint smile. "I'll go." There was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes, but it disappeared in a flash. This LAN Yun actually asked him to get the broken sword. He definitely did not have good intentions and wanted to give the broken sword to Lu Ming. He wanted Lu Ming to test the waters. After the death of such a peerless expert, even though countless years had passed, no one knew what kind of danger would befall them. What if the other party had left behind a trace of qi, or left behind some backup plan? To take his broken sword would be courting death. "Go quickly and bring me the broken sword." LAN Songshi also spoke, his voice cold. Lu Ming sneered. He finally understood why LAN Yun was so kind to answer his question and even invited him to go with him. His goal was to use him as a test stone. If there was any danger, he would be the first to go. "Brother Lu, hurry up," LAN Yun urged. At the same time, he moved and formed a corner with LAN Songshi to block Lu Ming's retreat. A cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. "All right, I'll go get it," Lu Ming said with a smile. He stepped forward and walked toward the skeleton. Of course, Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He was highly focused and his spiritual senses constantly scanned the skeleton and the broken sword. However, he did not find any abnormalities or any danger. However, Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He held the Celestial Emperor's sword in his hand. Now that Celestial Emperor's corporeal body had stored more than 10% of its energy, the Celestial Emperor's sword could burst out with a powerful force. If anything went wrong, he could use the Celestial Emperor's sword to block. As he slowly approached the skeleton, he still didn't sense any danger. Lu Ming's spiritual sense was focused on the broken sword. The broken sword was undying, so the most dangerous part was definitely the broken sword. However, from a close distance, he could feel that the broken sword seemed to have lost its spirituality and was no different from a piece of scrap metal. Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed at the air. A palm condensed from Saint Energy grabbed at the broken sword. "Saint Energy? You haven't become a Saint Emperor yet?" Seeing the holy power surging in Lu Ming's palm, LAN Yun smiled in disdain. Chapter 2189. Chapter 2188, Striking First. Chapter 2189. Chapter 2188 Striking First. Previously, they had thought that Lu Ming was at least an expert at the martial emperor realm. Now that they saw that Lu Ming was using Saint Energy and not World Energy, they immediately looked disdainful. At this moment, Lu Ming's hand, which was condensed with holy power, had already grabbed the broken sword. Nothing happened at all. There was nothing unusual. Lu Ming retracted his holy power and held the broken sword in his hand. It was cold to the touch and there was nothing special about it. Lu Ming kept the Celestial Emperor's sword. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Lu Ming would not control the Celestial Emperor's sword to attack. After all, once the energy of the Celestial Emperor's physical body was exhausted, it was too troublesome to replenish it. The amount of resources required was also shocking. It's been too long. The spirituality in the broken sword has long been lost. It's now a piece of scrap metal. Lu Ming scanned it with his spiritual senses and realized that the broken sword was no longer of any use. Seeing that Lu Ming had successfully obtained the broken sword, LAN Yun and LAN Songshi smiled. "Brother Lu, hurry up and give me the broken sword," LAN Yun said somewhat impatiently. "Brother Lan, I was the one who obtained this broken sword." Lu Ming turned around, looked at LAN Yun, and said indifferently, "Brother Lu, leave it to me first. We'll split the treasures equally when we get more." LAN Yun said, his tone somewhat impatient. If not for the fact that he wanted to make use of Lu Ming, he would definitely have fallen out with him. Lan Songshi was even more direct. "It's a waste to leave such a treasure in the hands of a saint realm like you. Hand it over to us first. We'll naturally compensate you later." Lu Ming sneered in his heart. He deliberately muttered to himself and said, "All right then." He then tossed the broken sword to LAN Yun. LAN Yun was overjoyed, and hurriedly took it and looked at it. With a single glance, he revealed a disappointed expression. "It has no spirituality at all, just like a piece of scrap metal." LAN Yun shook his head, but he still put away the broken sword. "I still have matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave here." Lu Ming said. "You want to leave?" LAN Yun's face sank. "That's right. I still have something to do in my hometown. I have to find the exit and go back first. One won't be accompanying you too in your treasure hunt." Lu Ming randomly came up with a reason. "Lu Ming, I've explained so many problems to you and you're just saying that you want to leave. It's not that simple. Come with us." LAN Yun said coldly. "Brat, let's search for treasure together. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving this place." Lan Songshi appeared behind Lu Ming, exuding a cold killing intent. They were trying to force Lu Ming to be their pathfinder. Lu Ming sneered. The other party had explained some problems for him, but he had already taken a risk for them and obtained the broken sword. Furthermore, the reason why the other party was explaining the matter to him was because he had ill intentions from the start. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled up slightly and he smiled. "All right, since that's the case, I'll go with you. However, we'll split the treasures equally." "Naturally," LAN Yun said, but in his heart, he sneered at Lu Ming's naivety. He wanted to split the loot equally. Even if Lu Ming did not die during the subsequent pathfinding process, they would not keep him after that. Boom. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. Lu Ming exploded and raised his combat strength to the peak in an instant. He threw a palm at Lan Songshi. This move was too sudden. Lan Songshi was very strong. He was a 4-star illusionary emperor. In the face of danger, he roared and several laws emanated from his body. But he was still a step too late. Previously, they had thought that Lu Ming was only a figure below the rank of a martial supreme and that they could kill anyone below the rank of a martial supreme with a flip of their hands. Therefore, they were not as wary as before. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly made a killing move. In a hurry, Lan Songshi only had time to control the law and block in front of him. Boom. Lu Ming's palm hit Lan Song's body. The law that covered Lan Song's. His body trembled wildly and was finally penetrated by Lu Ming's palm. The terrifying palm force surged into Lan Song's body, creating a large transparent hole in his body. Lan Songshi cried out in pain and retreated frantically, his eyes filled with shock. At that moment, he sensed 7 types of laws from Lu Ming, 2 supreme laws and 5 king path laws. Lan Songshi was almost scared to death. This person's combat strength is very strong. Lu Ming also frowned. Lu Ming had already perfected 5 types of laws. The laws of alchemy and the laws of craftsmanship had not been perfected. His body had not been tempered, but his combat strength was much stronger than it was during the 10 lands battle. With his current battle strength, he could kill a 5-star Void Emperor if he were to unleash his full power. However, when Lu Ming launched a sneak attack just now, he did not manage to kill Lan Songshi but only severely injured him. Lan Songshi was only a 4-star Void Emperor. He could sense 3 types of laws from Lan Songshi. 1 King Path Law and 2 ordinary laws. Furthermore, he had reached the 2nd realm in 2 of his ordinary nomological laws. Lan Song's, his battle strength was much stronger than that of an ordinary 4-star illusionary emperor. And at this moment, LAN Yun also reacted. "Piece of shit, you dare to attack? You're looking for death." LAN Yun bellowed and burst out with his combat strength, charging toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming's figure flashed and he rushed towards the sand towards Lan Songshi. He would deal with one first, then the other. The other party wanted to use him as a test. How was that possible? Boom. Lu Ming kept swinging his palm. In an instant he had struck dozens of times. Each palm contained 7 types of laws and its power was shocking. Lan Songshi was severely injured by Lu Ming and kept spitting blood. His strength was less than 20% of his peak. How could he withstand it? After a few moves, the law that protected him was destroyed. The surging palm force fell on his body. Lan Songshi's body exploded before he could even scream. Boom! After killing Lan Songshi, Lu Ming did not stop. He turned around and threw a palm behind him. Because behind him, LAN Yun's attack had also arrived. Lu Ming's palm landed on LAN Yun's fist, and a violent boom erupted. Lu Ming felt a powerful force surging toward him, and his figure retreated continuously. LAN Yun wasn't any better, his figure also floating back. His ultimate maxim has already reached the second realm. There's still a king path maxim. Lu Ming's heart stirred. LAN Yun was undoubtedly a top heaven's favorite, not any weaker than the ones who came to Destiny Mountain with Heavenly Emperor Kong Yin. A 3-star illusionary emperor could control an ultimate law and a king path law. He was so powerful that he was not weaker than the gray-robed young man who had fought with Lu Ming before. And at this time, LAN Yun was even more shocked to the point of no return. He could also sense the law that Lu Ming controlled and was extremely shocked. It's you. I remember now. You're the trash body from the primordial realm, the peerless trash body. LAN Yun suddenly roared. He was also a top-notch Heaven's Pride expert in the Heaven realm. Back then, some people had gone to the primordial realm, and when they returned, they said that a peerless cripple had appeared in the primordial realm. He had mastered many kinds of nomological laws below the martial emperor realm, and he had even mastered 2 supreme nomological laws. However, he could not become a sovereign. Back then, it had caused a commotion in the Heaven realm. Now that he was fighting with Lu Ming, he immediately remembered. You're a cripple. How dare you kill a member of the Lan family? You're courting death. Immediately, Lan Yunxiao released a cold killing intent and burst out with all his might, charging towards Lu Ming. Chapter 2190, Purple E-Scaled Evil God Race. Chapter 2190, Purple-Scaled Evil God Race. LAN Yun's entire body was suffused with ice-cold killing intent. At the same time, he emitted a scarlet light. Even his palm was the same. Boom, boom. LAN Yun threw more than 10 punches at Lu Ming in succession. As he swung his fists, a violent lion's roar was heard. Lu Ming saw that on each of LAN Yun's fists, there was a fiery red lion roaring. As LAN Yun swung his fist, the fiery red lions also pounced. This was a terrifying magical technique that unleashed the power of the 2 laws that LAN Yun controlled. Lu Ming waved his palm and 7 types of laws burst out. He struck more than 10 times in an instant. Boom, boom. The fist and palm collided continuously, causing a shocking boom and a powerful force to sweep out. However, this place had experienced a great battle between peerless powerhouses countless years ago, and the ground had become extremely hard. The force of Lu Ming and LAN Yun's battle could only leave a shallow mark on the ground. The 2 of them attacked at an astonishing speed, and the sky was filled with fist and palm shadows. In an instant, they had exchanged hundreds of moves, and the lion's roar was endless. Damn it, this guy is even stronger than the legends say. Didn't the legends say that he only mastered 5 laws? LAN Yun roared in his heart. After exchanging hundreds of moves, he still could not defeat Lu Ming. This made him a little impatient. Lu Ming's expression was calm. This LAN Yun was indeed not weaker than the gray-robed young man back then. However, Lu Ming was also much stronger than he was during the 10 Lands battle. During the Battle of the 10 Lands, Lu Ming had to borrow the power of the 3rd bloodline to fight against the gray-robed young man. However, he did not need the power of the 3rd bloodline to fight against him now. The 2 continued to exchange hundreds of moves, but it was still difficult to determine the winner. Tear him apart. LAN Yun bellowed. The fiery red glow around his body grew even more intense. He waved his hands and the fiery red lions in his hands combined into one, turning into a huge red lion that pounced at Lu Ming. The power of this move was much stronger than the previous one. This was LAN Yun's ultimate killing move, his trump card ultimate move, its power shocking. Chaos Hammer. Lu Ming used the divine ability that he had created, the Chaos Hammer. During this period of time, Lu Ming had not stopped exploring the Hammer of Chaos and the Sword of Death. The power of these two supernatural powers was getting stronger and stronger. In particular, Lu Ming had also integrated the laws of alchemy and the laws of equipment. The laws of chaos and the other 5 King Path laws combined together and exploded at the same time. Their power burst out. An enormous hammer formed and smashed towards LAN Yun. Boom! The hammer of chaos and the huge red lion collided. The space kept exploding, and the terrifying energy swept in all directions. The two of them were locked in a stalemate in the air, constantly fighting against each other. In the end, the red lion and the hammer of chaos exploded at the same time. The two of them trembled and retreated. How is that possible? LAN Yun roared in his heart. He was shocked and furious that he could not take down Lu Ming despite his abilities. Kill! He roared loudly, and an even more intense red light spread out from his body. The space between his brows lit up, and a large seal was about to appear. Just as a section of the seal emerged, a shocking lion's roar rang out, causing the void to constantly explode. Its power was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could sense that this was a terrifying emperor weapon, or at least a true emperor weapon. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming's third bloodline emerged. He had borrowed a portion of the third bloodline's power to greatly increase his strength. Boom! Lu Ming took a step forward and dashed toward the blue cloud like a bolt of lightning. He struck with the hammer of chaos. LAN Yun did not expect that Lu Ming's abilities would suddenly increase sharply. In a hurry, he hurriedly blocked it, but how could he block it? After being struck by the primal chaos hammer, LAN Yun was sent flying with a blood-curdling screech and vomited a large mouthful of blood. Kill! Lu Ming was very decisive in his actions. After injuring LAN Yun with one move, he immediately charged over to kill LAN Yun. Lu Ming, I'll kill you sooner or later. LAN Yun roared and spat out a mouthful of blood. Then, a fiery red jade token appeared in his hand and he crushed it. After the jade token was crushed, a huge, fiery red lion appeared. This lion had a pair of wings. It grabbed LAN Yun and flapped its wings. Its body soared into the sky and flew into the distance at an astonishing speed. Lu Ming chased closely, but after a while, he realized that he could not catch up to the other party. The other party flew further and further away and finally disappeared from his field of vision. What a pity! Lu Ming sighed secretly. This LAN Yun was definitely a disciple of a major force in the heaven realm. He had many treasures on him, and that jade tablet was used to save his life. Lu Ming went back and kept Lan Song's his storage ring. Then, his figure flashed and he left the place. After that, Lu Ming carefully shuttled through the area alone. After a few more times, he encountered 2 marks. Among them, there were alien races and heaven realm experts. Other than that, he gained nothing. Most importantly, Lu Ming could not tell the direction in this battlefield. He did not know which side was the exit and how to get out. He could only walk around randomly. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He heard a voice coming from the front. Other than the sound of the wind, there was no other sound on this piece of land. But now, there were other noises. This meant that there was something up ahead. Lu Ming immediately cast the Divine Breath technique and restrained his aura to the extreme. Then, he landed on the ground and walked along the ground. 100 miles later, Lu Ming was hiding on a low mountain peak. He looked ahead with the help of the rocks. In front of them, there was a flat piece of land, and there were many burly figures. Evil God Tribe. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. There were more than 10 evil god tribes in total. However, there were certain differences between these evil god tribes and the ones that Lu Ming had seen before. The evil god tribe's members were covered in scales as well. However, the evil god tribe's scales that Lu Ming had encountered in the past were all black. On the other hand, the scales of these evil god tribe's members were purple. Furthermore, they were smaller in size compared to the evil god tribe that he had encountered before. However, they were indeed from the evil god tribe. Every single one of them had a third eye in the middle of their brows. Over a dozen purple-scaled evil god tribe members surrounded an area. Their figures flashed continuously, as if they were setting up something. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the area again and realized that it was a skeleton that was surrounded by more than 10 evil god tribe members. This skeleton held a large bow in its hand. It was obvious that the people from the evil god tribe were here for this large bow, but they didn't dare to get too close. These guys seemed to be setting up some kind of formation. Lu Ming observed carefully and realized that the evil god tribe members should be setting up an array. After a moment, the evil god tribe members stopped and retreated. Activate the formation. One of the evil god tribesmen let out a low grunt, and a purple light emanated from the bodies of the dozen or so evil god tribesmen before they sank into the ground. The ground glowed, and black rays of light flashed out. Then, these black rays of light actually condensed into large words. Lu Ming did not recognize these chess pieces. They were very ancient. Chapter 2191. Chapter 2190, Snatching the Divine Bow. Chapter 2191. Chapter 2190, Snatching the Divine Bow. The formation set up by the evil god race condensed into many black ancient words. As soon as these characters appeared, they flew toward the large bow. The brilliant light suppressed the bow. However, at this moment, the large bow emitted a ray of light that was like a light barrier. It covered itself and blocked the large words. The bodies of the evil god race's members began to glow with an even more intense purple light, which gushed into the ground continuously. The power of the formation grew even stronger, and it continued to glow with a dark light. Large, black characters appeared one after another, and they continued to rush toward the bow. However, although the light shield around the bow kept shaking, it was not broken. This bow still has its spirituality. It's definitely a supreme divine bow. Lu Ming pondered in his heart. A fiery look flashed in his eyes. After a moment, it was still ineffective. It did not break the light shield on the bow. Our formation is too far away from the bow. It can't display its full power. We have to get close to the bow and set up the formation. Only then will we be able to destroy the killing intent on the bow. One of RH evil god race members said. That's right. This is a treasure left behind from ancient times. Even after so many years, its spirituality still hasn't completely disappeared. It's definitely a treasure that can't be missed. Let's do it. The other member of the evil god race also spoke up. Then, the evil god tribe members carefully approached the bow. When they were within 1,000 meters of the bow, they started to set up the formation. Buzz. At this moment, the bow buzzed and emitted a bright light. Then, a ray of light shot out from the bow like an arrow. Pucci. One of the evil god tribe members was unable to put up any resistance before his head was pierced through by an arrow, resulting in his violent death. Increase the speed. One of the evil god race members roared. The purple light on the bodies of the evil god race members became more and more intense. They increased their speed in setting up the formation, and rays of light entered the ground. At this moment, the bow vibrated again, and another arrow was shot out, killing another member of the evil god race. The remaining members of the evil god race were terrified. However, at this point, it was impossible for them to retreat. They could only grit their teeth and continue. They increased their speed in setting up the formation. In the process of setting up the formation, the huge bow kept vibrating, and arrows were shot out. One after another, the evil god race members were killed. What a terrifying power. This is a killing intent that hasn't dissipated yet. Lu Ming's eyes were a little solemn. He could tell that there was a wisp of killing intent left behind by the bow's owner when he was alive. Any living creature that got close to the bow would be killed mercilessly. This was also the reason why LAN Yun and the rest had asked Lu Ming to scout the way. If the broken sword still had its own spirit, it would be extremely dangerous. The evil god tribe was obviously trying to set up a formation to wipe out the killing intent on the bow. In just a short moment, 8 members of the evil god tribe had died under the bow. And now, there were only 9 evil god races left. Success. Retreat. One of the evil god race members roared. Buzz. Whoosh. The remaining 9 people retreated in a frenzy. However, at this moment, the bow vibrated and another arrow was shot out, aiming at one of the evil god race members. No! 11 The evil god tribe member roared out in despair, filled with unwillingness. He had already succeeded. He had already retreated, but at the last moment, an arrow was shot at him. Without any suspense, this member of the evil god race was killed, and only 8 members of the evil god race were left. The remaining 8 people retreated with astonishing speed. When they had retreated a certain distance, the large bow no longer emitted light and became silent. The 8 members of the evil god race all had expressions of lingering fear on their faces. If they were unlucky, they would have been dead. Let's start. The 8 of them looked at each other and then started to activate the array. This time, the inner and outer layers of RHE formation were activated at the same time, forming ancient and mysterious characters that flew towards the big bow. Lu Ming estimated that this kind of large array should be one that the evil god tribe had. The ancient characters flew towards the bow. The bow glowed and was covered by a layer of light. But this time, the power of the ancient characters was obviously much stronger than before. The large characters glowed and pressed down on the light shield like weapons. Boom! Boom! The light shield trembled continuously and rippled as if it would collapse at any moment. After a few minutes, RHE light shield could not hold on any longer. Like a bubble, it burst with a pop. The huge words rushed towards the bow and covered it. Buzz! At this moment, the bow trembled and released a terrifying killing intent that filled the surroundings. The words that covered the bow crumbled one by one. However, more words would immediately cover it. Every time the character crumbled, the killing intent on the bow would dim and weaken a little. This was to use the power of the formation to obliterate the killing intent in the bow. As time passed, the killing intent on the bow became weaker and weaker. Half an hour later, the killing intent on the bow had completely disappeared. It's a success, huh? One of the members of the evil god race laughed out loud, and the other members of the evil god race revealed looks of joy. They stepped forward and approached the bow, but the bow didn't react at all. In the end, they neared the bow, and one of the evil god tribesmen stepped forward and grabbed the bow. Buzz! The evil god clansman grabbed the bow in his hand and tried to pull the bowstring. However, after pulling for a long time, there was no reaction at all. Huh, it's indeed a supreme treasure. With our cultivation, we can't open it at all. The evil god tribe member laughed out loud, becoming even more excited. If they brought such a valuable treasure back and handed it over, they would definitely be rewarded handsomely. Let me see. The other member of the evil god race was extremely curious. He took the bow and tried to draw it, but it was to no avail. In the distance, Lu Ming's eyes were filled with murderous intent. 3 4-star illusionary emperors and 5 3-star illusionary emperors. Lu Ming muttered. Earlier on, when the evil god tribe was controlling the array, Lu Ming had already known their strength. Among the evil god tribe, there were originally 2 5-star void emperors. However, they were too unlucky to have been lulled by the big bow. The strongest remaining was only a 4-star void emperor. Lu Ming decided to take action and kill these evil god tribe members to snatch the big bow. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed into the sky and approached the area where the evil god race was. Lu Ming cast the divine breath technique but did not emit any aura. The other party did not sense it at all and continued to look at the big bow. Now! With a single thought, Lu Ming swooped down like a bolt of lightning. As he rushed down, a combat sword was condensed in Lu Ming's hand. This was a divine ability, the Sword of Death. Not good, there's someone. The members of the evil god tribe had also noticed Lu Ming. They roared and their bodies were covered in purple light. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and slashed his sword at a 4-star illusionary emperor. Chapter 2192. Chapter 2192, Leave No One Alive. Chapter 2192. Chapter 2192 Leave No One Alive. Lu Ming slashed his sword at a 4-star illusionary emperor of the evil god tribe. At this critical moment, the third eye of the evil god race member lit up. A purple beam of light burst out and pierced toward Lu Ming. At the same time, purple light burst forth from his body. A giant axe appeared in his hand, and he slashed upward. Boom! Lu Ming slashed down with all his might. The sword of death hit the purple beam that was shooting out of the evil god tribe member's third eye. The sword of death trembled. The death law and the 5 laws trembled continuously, forming a terrifying cutting force that directly cut the light beam apart and continued to cut. Then, the sword of death collided with the giant axe. A violent explosion rang out as the death sword trembled. However, the opponent's giant axe trembled even more violently. In the end, it exploded and turned into fragments that flew everywhere. Many of the fragments struck the evil god tribe members' bodies. Bang! The body of the evil god tribe member was sent flying, and wounds appeared on his body, causing blood to flow out. But he didn't die. What powerful strength! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The evil god tribe was only a 4-star void emperor. Given Lu Ming's current combat strength, he could kill an ordinary 4-star illusionary emperor in seconds with the sword of death. Even a 5-star void emperor could be seriously injured with one move. However, when Lu Ming had launched a surprise attack and slashed down with his sword, he had not killed the other party. He had only severely injured the other party. The combat strength of the evil god tribe had exceeded Lu Ming's imagination. It's not any weaker than that blue pine stone. 11 Lu Ming had a thought in his mind. Lan Songshi was also a 4-star illusionary emperor. However, his combat strength was far stronger than the 4-star illusionary emperors that Lu Ming had encountered before. This is the battlefield of the war between the two worlds. These people are all from the military camps of the two worlds. They've been fighting on the battlefield all year round, and their battle prowess is stronger than that of beings of the same level. Lu Ming pondered in his heart and came to this conclusion. Of course, it only took an instant for Lu Ming to think of all these. He did not stop at Ale and continued to kill the injured evil god tribe member. However, at this moment, the other members of the evil god race had already reacted. Beams of terrifying purple light shot toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming had no choice but to stop and block. He waved the sword of death to block the purple light beams. He discovered that the power of these purple light beams was also very shocking. The combat strength of every member of the evil god tribe was stronger than the black-scaled evil god tribe that Lu Ming had encountered in the past. These were definitely the elites of the evil god tribe. Kill! Lu Ming broke through a few purple light beams and charged towards a 3-star illusionary emperor. Even if he could not kill a 4-star void emperor in seconds, he should be able to kill a 3-star void emperor in seconds. Stop him! Among the 8 evil god tribe members, there were a total of 3 4-star illusionary emperors. One of them had been severely injured by Lu Ming earlier, and there were 2 more. At that moment, the 2 members of the evil god tribe were the main force, and they launched a storm of attacks on Lu Ming. Meanwhile, the other 3-star illusionary emperor evil god tribe members were attacking Lu Ming from the periphery. Lu Ming did not dare to be careless. He focused his attention to resist. Although he could kill a 3-star illusionary emperor in seconds, it did not mean that he could ignore the attack of a 3-star illusionary emperor. Moreover, the attack power of these 3-star illusionary emperors was very terrifying. Lu Ming would be injured if he was hit. Human ant, how dare you ambush me? Kill. The evil god tribe member who had been ambushed by Lu Ming had also returned. Lu Ming was surrounded by 8 members of the evil god race. For the time being, he could only protect himself and could not kill the enemy at all. He underestimated the enemy. Lu Ming sighed secretly. Back in the primordial realm, he had been able to kill a 4-star void emperor in seconds. In addition, his strength had recently increased, so he had not taken a 4-star void emperor seriously before, unless it was a top-notch heaven's favorite like LAN Yun. That was why he made his move and charged out. Now, he understood that he had underestimated others. This was the 2-realm battlefield. Those who could fight here were all elites, and there was no lack of experts. It seems like one can only borrow the power of the 3rd bloodline. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Instantly, a surge of energy from his 3rd bloodline gushed into his body. Lu Ming did not dare to borrow too much power. The third bloodline was too strange. If he borrowed too much, his mind would be affected. Even so, Lu Ming's strength had increased greatly. Kill! The third bloodline contained a strong killing intent. Lu Ming hollered, and a cold killing intent burst forth. All the members of the evil god tribe could not help but shudder. How could Lu Ming miss such a good opportunity? He took a step forward and slashed his death sword at the evil god tribe member who had been severely injured by him previously. This time, the evil god tribe member could no longer resist and was directly split in half by Lu Ming's sword. Immediately after, Lu Ming swept his battle sword horizontally and killed a 3-star illusionary emperor from the evil god tribe. After killing 2 people in a row, Lu Ming charged towards another 4-star illusionary emperor. The 4-star illusionary emperor roared and used his trump card to block. However, after the combat sword slashed, all his attacks collapsed. His whole body flew out and fell heavily on the ground, unable to move. Although he didn't die, he didn't have the strength to fight anymore. As the number of opponents decreased, Lu Ming's strength increased. Lu Ming was even more invincible. With another 2 sword strikes, another 2 3-star illusionary emperors were killed. In just a few breaths, only 3 of the 8 were left. The remaining 3 people were finally scared and turned to run. How could Lu Ming let the other party escape? His figure flickered and he chased after them. With one slash, he killed the remaining 2 3-star illusionary emperors. Only the last 4-star illusionary emperor was left, but he had already escaped some distance away. Lu Ming gave chase at top speed. After 5 kilometers, Lu Ming caught up with the other party. "We'll die together." Seeing that he couldn't escape, the evil god tribe member roared as his third eye burst forth with a brilliant light that was like a small purple Sunday whoosh. A purple beam of light with terrifying power shot toward Lu Ming. After shooting out this beam of light, the aura of the evil god tribe's members immediately weakened. Lu Ming's hair stood on end. This beam of light gave him a sense of danger. Slash! Lu Ming exerted all his strength and slashed down. Thump! With a huge tremor, the sword of death in Lu Ming's hand actually exploded. Lu Ming retreated quickly, feeling his palm go numb. What a powerful force! The power of his opponent's desperate attack was truly shocking. At this moment, he had borrowed the power of his third bloodline, but the sword of death was still scattered by his opponent. Seeing that he had not managed to kill Lu Ming despite his all-out attack, the evil god tribe member revealed a look of despair. "Human ants, my race will trample you all to the ground. We will exterminate all of you lowly ants, leaving no one alive." The evil god tribe member roared. "In the future, you will be the ones to be destroyed." Lu Ming's eyes were cold. The sword of death was condensed once again. He swung the sword and killed the other party. After putting away the other party's storage bracelet, Lu Ming charged back and killed the heavily injured evil god tribe member. Lu Ming would not show any mercy to the evil god tribe. He would kill as many as he could. The evil god tribe was bent on breaking through the heaven realm and the primordial realm. When that time came, the people would be plunged into misery and suffering. If you don't kill them, they will kill you. Chapter 2193, Hunting the Evil God Tribe. Chapter 2193, Hunting the Evil God Tribe. At this point, the 8 evil god tribe members had all been killed by Lu Ming. With a single thought, Lu Ming kept the power of his third bloodline. What exactly is this third bloodline? Lu Ming could not help but think. He had been thinking about this question more than once. The third bloodline seemed to be very mysterious and had endless power and killing intent. He didn't dare to borrow too much power from it. This power was not something he could control. Furthermore, as his cultivation level grew, his fear of the third bloodline grew even stronger. This was because no matter how much he improved, he was still as insignificant as an ant in front of the power of the third bloodline. One don't care. As long as I can keep getting stronger, I can use this power for myself. Lu Ming shook his head. He then put away all the storage bracelets of the evil god tribe, including those of the evil god tribe that had been killed by the large bow. These were all martial emperor realm powerhouses. To Lu Ming, It was another great harvest. Then, Lu Ming started to search through the storage rings one by one. I found it. Not long after, Lu Ming was overjoyed and a large bow appeared in his hands. It was the huge bow that the evil god tribe had obtained previously. The bow was 1.5 meters long and made of an unknown material. It was extremely heavy and the surface of the bow was covered in rust. Try it. Lu Ming grabbed the bow handle with one hand and pulled the bowstring with the other. He pulled with all his might. It didn't move at all. The bow didn't move at all, and the bowstring didn't curve at all. With my current strength, I can't move it at all. No wonder those evil god tribe members can't move it either. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. This bow was no small matter. It was definitely a supreme treasure. Even after so many years, it still retained its spiritual nature. Let's try again. Lu Ming was unwilling to give up. This time, he unleashed all his power of law. Buzz. This time, the bow vibrated slightly. At the same time, Lu Ming felt the bowstring being pulled. Although it was only pulled a little, it was indeed pulled. At the same time, the energy of heaven and earth, as well as the saint energy in Lu Ming's body, gushed into the bow. An arrow that glowed with 7 colors appeared. I've succeeded. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He released his grip and the arrow shot out like a bolt of lightning. It flew tens of thousands of meters away and landed on a mountain peak. Boom. A large hole was blasted in the mountain peak and gravel flew everywhere. What a terrifying power. Lu Ming revealed a look of excitement. This was an ancient battlefield. After the battle of peerless experts, energy and killing intent wreaked havoc, causing the ground and mountain rocks to become extremely hard. Lu Ming's all-out attack could only leave a shallow mark on the ground. However, the arrow just now had created a huge hole in a mountain. The power of the arrow was extremely shocking. However, the amount of saint power I'm using up is also shocking. I can't use it all the time. This bow seemed to require many types of laws in order to draw it. The amount of holy power it consumed was also shocking. Lu Ming would not be able to use it many times before his holy power would be completely depleted. With such power, I'm afraid even a 7-star illusionary emperor would be shot to death by this arrow. Although the holy power consumption was shocking, Lu Ming was still very satisfied. With this bow, he didn't need to fear anyone below the true emperor realm. Moreover, he had only pulled the bowstring a little and was far from displaying the bow's power. As his cultivation level increased, the power of this bow would also become stronger. Lu Ming put away the big bow excitedly. In a flash, he left the place. Following that, Lu Ming continued to explore alone without any direction. A day later, he had no idea how far he had walked. Boom, boom. Suddenly, there was a roar ahead. Someone was fighting. Lu Ming concealed his aura and hurried over quietly. He then saw that some members of the evil god tribe were besieging 3 humans. A young man, a middle-aged man, and an old man. The young man was slightly fat and had a very strong cultivation base. He had reached the 3-star Void Emperor realm and also mastered an ultimate law. He was obviously a top-tier heaven's favorite. The middle-aged burly man was a 5-star Void Emperor. The old man was a 6-star Void Emperor, and his battle strength was very strong. However, at this moment, they were in grave danger. A total of 6 members of the evil god race were attacking them. These 6 members of the evil god race were covered in purple scales, and their cultivation bases were extremely profound. One of them was also a 6-star Void Emperor, and his battle strength was not weaker than the old man's. There were also 3 5-star Void Emperors and 2 4-star Void Emperors. Such a lineup had put the 3 humans in a dangerous situation. Even if they tried their best to defend, they wouldn't be able to stop it. Young master, run. Well, block them. The old man roared. If we're leaving, well, leave together. The chubby young man roared. You want to leave? None of you can. The reward for killing a human heaven's favorite is quite a lot. The 6-star illusionary emperor from the evil god tribe laughed out loud. However, his attacks did not weaken at all as he continued to attack the old man. Not only did the old man have to defend against the attack of the 6-star Void Emperor, but he also had to defend against 2 5-star Void Emperors. He was in a very dangerous situation, and a trace of blood had already seeped out of the corner of his mouth. Die! The evil god tribe cried out. In the distance, a cold glint flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. The large bow appeared in his hand, and he sneaked around to another direction. He was going to make a move. If the people fighting in front were from the heaven realm, he wouldn't have interfered. However, one side was the evil god tribe, and the other side was the human race. That was a different story. Similarly, if Lu Ming had not obtained the big bow, he would not have interfered. The other party had a 5-star and a 6-star illusionary emperor. With his current combat strength, he would only be courting death if he interfered. However, with the bow in his hands, Lu Ming was not afraid. In a few breaths, Lu Ming had circled to another direction. He pulled the bowstring and aimed it at the 6-star illusionary emperor. The longbow emitted a faint glow. The energy between heaven and earth and Lu Ming's saint energy continuously poured into the longbow. A 7-colored arrow appeared. Lu Ming released his grip and the arrow flew out. In an instant, it crossed a distance of tens of miles and shot towards the 6-star Void Emperor at an astonishing speed. That 6-star Shudu reacted and wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. He could only defend with all his might. However, his defense was as fragile washi. The arrow pierced through all of his defenses and shot into the space between his eyebrows. It carried him tens of thousands of meters away, and he stared at a low peak. A 6-star Void Emperor was instantly killed. At the scene, both the human race and the evil god race were stunned. The evil god tribe, in particular, turned pale with fright. Kill! How could the old man miss this opportunity? He exploded with all his strength and slashed out a sword light, severely injuring a 5-star illusionary emperor. Chapter 2194. Chapter 2194, Meeting LAN Yun again. Chapter 2194. Chapter 2194, Meeting LAN Yun again, Retreat. One of the evil god race members roared. To be able to kill a 6-star Void Emperor with one arrow, they knew that a terrifying expert must have come from the heaven realm. How could they dare to stay? In fear, they turned around and ran away. Another arrow flew over and was aimed at the 5-star Void Emperor. The 5-star illusionary emperor let out a blood-curdling screech before he was shot dead. On the other side, the old man continued his victorious pursuit and killed the 5-star Void Emperor he had severely injured. There were a total of 6 people on the other side, 1 6-star Void Emperor and 2 5-star Void Emperors. All of them were killed, leaving only 3 4-star Void Emperors who were running for their lives. The 3 members of the evil god race had fled in different directions. They knew that if they were to gather together, none of them would be able to escape. Chase! The chubby young man roared and chased after a 4-star illusionary emperor from the evil god tribe. The old man and the middle-aged man also chased after one each. The evil god tribe member that the chubby young man was chasing happened to run toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step forward, holding a large bow and pointing it at the evil god. The evil god race member turned pale with fright and was almost scared to death. Just now, it was 2 arrows that had killed a 6-star and a 5-star illusionary emperor. Now that he saw Lu Ming appear with a large bow in his hand, it would be strange if he was not scared to death. He was panicking, but the chubby youth had already arrived. This kind of purple-scaled evil god race was extremely powerful. However, the chubby youth was a top-tier genius. Although his cultivation was 1 level lower, his combat strength was not any weaker. In fact, he was even stronger. A blade light that was white and bright slashed toward the evil god race. The evil god tribe was on guard against Lu Ming. In their panic, they were hit by the chubby young man and were severely injured. The chubby youth's attack had hit its target, and the subsequent attacks were endless. The snow-white blade light slashed out one after another toward the evil god tribe. The evil god tribe had been severely injured and was already powerless to turn the situation around. They could only defend and no longer have the power to fight back. Defeat was a matter of time. Lu Ming did not draw the bow. He was just scaring the other party. Seeing that the matter was settled, he put away his bow. Buzz! A figure flashed, and the old man appeared. He had obviously finished off his opponent. After a while, the middle-aged man also appeared. At this moment, the chubby young man had the upper hand. His blade light flashed and left many wounds on the evil god tribe members' bodies. Kill! In the end, the chubby young man shouted and cut off his head. After killing the evil god tribe members, the chubby young man, elder, and middle-aged burly man turned to look at Lu Ming with shock in their eyes. A moment ago, the arrow had instantly killed a 6-star and a 5-star Void Emperor. They had not expected that the owner of the arrow would be so young. This brother, thank you for saving me just now. The chubby guy walked over and cupped his fists in thanks, his attitude sincere. You're too polite. How can I not kill an alien? Lu Ming smiled. How can one not kill you? That's very reasonable. Lu Hao, how should I address you, brother? The chubby young man said. Lu Ming. Lu Ming said. It's Brother Lu. Lu Hao gave a fist salute. Thank you for your help, little brother Lu. The old man and the burly man also thanked Lu Ming. Lu Ming said a few words of thanks. Brother Lu, you seem unfamiliar. Did you enter this battlefield alone? Lu Hao asked. Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. It's a little unsafe to come in alone. Right now, the evil god race has also sent a large number of experts into this ancient battlefield. Right now, the people from the heaven realm are gathering not far away. We're gathering our strength to fight against the evil god race together. Brother Lu, why don't you come with us? Lu Hao invited. Lu Ming was in deep thought. All right, 111 go with you. Lu Ming nodded after a while. Lu Ming had his own considerations for agreeing to it. First of all, Lu Hao's group didn't look like LAN Yun's group, which was sinister, cunning, despicable, and shameless. Lu Hao's group looked sincere and didn't look like cunning people. In addition, he couldn't find the way out by himself. Only with the people of Heaven Realm could he find the way out and enter the Tai Ching Heavenly Realm. Seeing that Lu Ming had agreed, Lu Hao was overjoyed. He gave the 6 evil god tribes storage bracelets to Lu Ming, saying that it was all thanks to Lu Ming's help this time. Otherwise, they would have all been done for. Lu Ming did not stand on ceremony and kept all of them. Then they headed in one direction. They didn't encounter any danger along the way. After a few hours, they came to a bare mountain range. Inside, there was a valley. It was quite hidden, and the creatures from the heaven realm gathered here. Other than the human clan, there were also divine beasts. There's quite a lot of people. When Lu Ming and the rest arrived, they swept their gazes and discovered that there were more than 100 people. However, there were not many young people, only 5 or 6 of them. The rest were either middle-aged or old. There were both men and women. Without a doubt, they were all in the martial emperor realm. Some of them had extremely profound auras, and the divine light of the world was faintly emanating from them. True emperor. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. This ancient battlefield was extremely dangerous. The stronger one's cultivation was, the more dangerous it would be to enter. There was already a certain level of danger when a true emperor entered. They might be targeted by the marks of the experts. Low-rank true emperors were still fine, but high-rank true emperors would definitely die when they encountered those marks. Lu Hao greeted the few young men and introduced them to Lu Ming. The few young men smiled and nodded at Lu Ming. They did not have much reaction when they heard Lu Ming's name. It was obvious that even if they had heard of a peerless cripple in the primordial realm, they would not know Lu Ming's name. Lu Ming also smiled and nodded. He then stood by the side with Lu Ming. Lu Hao whispered. This time, they had entered this ancient battlefield to try their luck and see if they could get some opportunities or treasures. In addition, they had one more thing to do. They had to find out why the ancient battlefield had changed and what exactly had happened. Was it related to the evil god race? The higher-ups of the heaven realm took this matter very seriously. Therefore, they had gathered together. First, they wanted to exchange information. Second, they would have a higher chance of success if they worked together. As time passed, more and more people arrived. Not long after, about 150 people gathered. Buzz. Whoosh. At this time, more beams of light flew over. This time, more than 10 people came at once. LAN Yun. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. This time, there were more than 10 people and the person in the lead was actually LAN Yun. Now it seemed that his injuries had already healed. LAN Yun and the rest landed in the valley and scanned the entire place. When he saw Lu Ming, his eyes were filled with killing intent as he strode toward Lu Ming. "Kid, we meet again. This time, let's see how you die." LAN Yun walked in front of Lu Ming and spoke coldly, his face revealing a ferocious expression. The person who had come with LAN Yun also stepped forward, emitting a cold aura. Chapter 2195. A Little Daoist Priest? Chapter 2195. A little Daoist priest LAN Yun and the rest closed in on Lu Ming. They did not hide their cold killing intent at all. "LAN Yun, what are you guys trying to do?" Lu Hao stepped forward and said loudly. "What are you doing? Cripple this brat." LAN Yun coldly said. The surrounding people all cast curious gazes over. Lu Hao's expression changed. "LAN Yun, there are rules in Two World City. Anyone who enters the battlefield must be united. They are not allowed to kill each other. Those who break the rules will be punished by military law. Do you want to break the rules?" "Ha, breaking the rules? Let me tell you, this kid is the one who broke the rules. Previously, this kid launched a sneak attack and killed an expert of the LAN family. So, I'm going to cripple him and bring him back to Two World City to accept his punishment." LAN Yun laughed loudly. The Two World City was a huge city located at the entrance of the Hunyuan Heavenly Region and the Taiching Heavenly Region. It was magnificent and had countless powerful cultivators. It was because of the Two World City that the foreign tribe's attack was stopped. "What?" Hearing this, Lu Hao was stunned. If it was really as LAN Yun said, he had no reason to interfere. Laughable. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke indifferently and cast a glance at LAN Yun. "You and that LAN Songshur are afraid of death and want to get the treasure. So, you used me as a test stone. When you encountered the remnant soldiers left behind from the ancient times, you didn't dare to go up to them but asked me to go up instead. One helped you guys take a broken weapon and wanted to leave. You guys didn't let me go and wanted to kill me. If I don't do anything, do one just wait to be killed by you?" His words made many people's eyes light up. So that was the case. If they were in Lu Ming's shoes, they would probably take action too. "LAN Yun, if that's really the case, then you can't blame Brother Lu for taking action." Lu Hao spoke again. "You're lying. The three of us are working together to search for treasures. When we encounter a treasure, one of us naturally has to go up and test it out. If the three of us go up together and encounter danger, wouldn't we all be annihilated?" LAN Yun argued. "Then why should one go and not you guys?" Lu Ming sneered. "You were the one who went up that time. The second time, well, definitely go up and take turns. However, you were blinded by greed and suddenly attacked us. You wanted to kill us and take the treasure for yourself. You deserve to die." LAN Yun shouted loudly, his eyes revealing a crafty look. Lu Ming sneered. This LAN Yun was really shameless. What taking turns? It's all dog shit. They clearly wanted Lu Ming to be their test. If Lu Ming wanted to leave, they would have the intention to kill him and threaten him. 1C. Everything is clear now. This brat was greedy and wanted to kill people to steal their treasures. He killed his own people on the battlefield. This is a serious violation of the rules and must be punished. At this moment, a voice rang out from the side. It was a young man named Yan Shi, who was also a genius. Lu Hao didn't know whether LAN Yun was telling the truth or not, and didn't know what to say for a moment. "Lu Ming, kneel down and destroy your own cultivation. Do you still need me to do it?" LAN Yun shouted. "If you have the ability, then come." Lu Ming said coldly, a large bow appearing in his hands. "You're indeed audacious. You still want to resist?" LAN Yun shouted. Buzz. Bush. Behind LAN Yun, more than 10 figures flickered and surrounded Lu Ming. Their powerful auras pressed toward Lu Ming. 2 7-star Void Emperors and 2 6-star Void Emperors. Lu Ming's eyes swept across the room, revealing a cold killing intent. The people that LAN Yun had brought were very powerful. Lu Ming was definitely not a match for them with his own abilities. However, Lu Ming had the big bow in his hands and he was not afraid of them. If these people were looking for death, he didn't mind killing them. The one who gave him the pressure was Yan Shi, who had a true Emperor Realm expert by her side. Given Lu Ming's current cultivation level, even if he had a large bow in his hands, he could not unleash such a powerful force. He was not a match for a true emperor. However, if he was forced into a corner, Lu Ming could directly use the Celestial Thearch's physical body to kill the other party. However, Lu Ming would not use it unless he had no other choice. All around them, the others looked on coldly. No one said a word. "LAN Yun, aren't you going too far? If there's anything, we can talk about it after we return to Two World City," Lu Hao said anxiously. Lu Ming had saved his life. He could not just watch Lu Ming be crippled. "Lu Hao, get lost. I won't let you be captured as well," LAN Yun coldly rebuked. "You?" Lu Hao's expression was ugly. He was the one who invited Lu Ming to come along, but such a thing happened. He felt terrible. "Brother Lu, this has nothing to do with you. If they want to deal with me, they will have to pay a heavy price," Lu Ming said coldly as he poured his holy power into the bow. The bow trembled slightly and a layer of light emanated from it. "This is an ancient emperor weapon." LAN Yun's gaze landed on the large bow and revealed a greedy expression. The bow was full of ancient intent, and there were even spots of rust on it. It was very likely that he had obtained it from this ancient battlefield. The weapons left behind in this ancient battlefield still had spirituality, which was definitely not a small matter. This made him envious. LAN Yun was just about to call for action when a disdainful sneer came from the sky at this moment. How despicable and shameless. He forced others to be his test stone and was killed in return. Now he's slandering others. The LAN family is really getting worse. The voice was filled with disdain, causing LAN Yun and the others to change their expressions. Everyone looked up at the sky. In the sky, a 14 to 15-year-old young man wearing a yin-yang Daoist robe of Tai Chi with his hands behind his back was approaching. It was a little Taoist priest. "Who are you to insult the LAN family? You're courting death, do you understand?" LAN Yun coldly said. "Don't use the LAN family to pressure me. Others may be afraid of your LAN family, but I'm not." The little Daoist was disdainful, and a mocking smile hung on the corner of his mouth. "Am one wrong? You're obviously forcing others to be your test stones. They will naturally resist, but you're still framing them here. Anyone with eyes can see that you're lying through your teeth. If the LAN family was full of people like you, they would have been destroyed long ago." The little Daoist had his hands behind his back and looked like a peerless expert. He squinted at LAN Yun like an elder reprimanding a junior. He has insulted the LAN family time and time again. He's courting death. In my opinion, this person is Lu Ming's accomplice. Attack and cripple him first. LAN Yun roared. Buzz. A middle-aged burly man from the LAN clan rushed out. He had the cultivation base of a 5-star Void Emperor. With his 5-star illusionary divine cultivation, it was a piece of cake to deal with a young Daoist priest. Almost everyone thought so, except for one person, Lu Ming. "This guy, why does he look so familiar?" Lu Ming sized up the little Daoist curiously. Lu Ming was sure that he had never seen the little Daoist's appearance before. However, he felt that his temperament was very familiar. At this moment, there were changes on the battlefield. The LAN family's 5-star illusionary divine stage expert speed was astonishing. He rushed towards the little Daoist and with a wave of his hand, a huge palm grabbed at the little Daoist, trying to suppress him. Just as the hand was about to grab the little Daoist's figure flashed and disappeared from his original spot. The next moment, he appeared above the middle-aged man's head. Chapter 2196. LAN Yun, so miserable. Chapter 2196. LAN Yun, so miserable, ill kick. The little Daoist shouted and kicked the middle-aged man's face. Bang! The middle-aged man was directly kicked and screamed. His burly body flew out and hit the stone wall of the valley before he stopped. He lay there and twitched continuously. The crowd looked at the middle-aged man and gasped. The middle-aged man was in a terrible state. Half of his face had exploded, and he was wailing in pain. Many people were shocked. This little Daoist looked very young, but he had terrifying strength. A 5-star Void Emperor could not even block one move. Could it be that this little Daoist was an elder? LAN Yun and the other members of the LAN family also had grave expressions. This kid is indeed Lu Ming's companion. Jackals of the same lair. He has publicly injured an expert of the LAN family. There's no need to talk about rules with such a person. Let's attack together and take him down. LAN Yun roared. Buzz. Bush. Immediately, all the LAN family's experts moved. Their figures flashed and they charged towards the little Daoist. Lu Ming touched his nose and was somewhat speechless. He was about to start a massacre, but he had to stop now. This was good too. If he killed all the people of the LAN family, it would be difficult for him to enter the Two-World City. If he couldn't enter the Two-World City, he wouldn't be able to enter the Taiqing Heaven region. It would definitely be very dangerous for him to stay in this battlefield for a long time. With this little Daoist making a move, he was too lazy to make a move. Nest, so many of you are beating me up. Your LAN family has really fallen. It will be destroyed sooner or later. I'll kick. The little Daoist shouted, but his hands and feet did not stop moving. His body flickered and his movement technique was extremely fast. He dodged all the attacks from the LAN family's experts and suddenly kicked out. Bang! One of the 6-star Void Emperors was kicked in the face. He let out a blood-curdling scream and followed in the footsteps of the burly man before him. He was kicked flying. Half of his face had exploded, and he lay on the ground twitching non-stop. You're despicable, you're shameless, you're shameless. I'll kick, kick. The little Daoist continued to shout and suddenly kicked out again. This time he kicked out twice in a row. Bang, bang. The two figures were sent flying, lying on the ground twitching, unable to get up at all for a while. Many people gasped. This was because this time, a 7-star Void Emperor and a 6-star Void Emperor had been sent flying. Everyone understood that this little Daoist's combat power was terrifyingly high. A 7-star Void Emperor was already at the peak of the Void Emperor realm. However, such a figure could not withstand a kick from the little Daoist. The other members of the LAN family were shocked. They wanted to retreat, but it was too late. I'll kick, 111 kick. The little Daoist shouted and his body flashed in the air as he kicked out continuously. Bang, bang. The remaining members of the LAN family were sent flying one by one, lying on the ground and twitching non-stop. LAN Yun stood there, dumbstruck. It's your turn. The little Daoist looked at LAN Yun with a sneer on his face as he walked towards LAN Yun. The upper echelons of Two-World City have a rule that when entering the battlefield, the beings of the Heaven Realm are not allowed to kill each other. You dare to disobey the rule? LAN Yun roared. I didn't kill them. How did one break the rules? Also, what's the big deal even if one kills scum like you? Is it a waste of air? The little Daoist said loudly. LAN Yun was shocked and furious. He quickly retreated, but the little Daoist was even faster. In a flash he had caught up to LAN Yun. Don't kick me, LAN Yun shrieked. But the little Daoist threw a slap at LAN Yun's face. LAN Yun cried out in pain as his body spun a few hundred times in the air before crashing heavily onto the ground. He lay there, his body twitching non-stop and his face swollen like a pig's head. I'll satisfy you. Don't kick me, hit me with your hands. The little Daoist priest pouted. The others were speechless. Then the little Daoist's eyes rolled a few times and he said, Scumbags like you specialize in framing others. It's a waste to keep you alive. However, there are rules in Two-World City. I'll spare your lives, but you must be punished. I'll keep your belongings for now and let you reflect on your actions. When you've reflected on your actions in the future, come and take them back from me. With that, the little Daoist's figure flashed and he took away the storage rings of the LAN family experts. Many people's eyelids twitched. This was too ruthless. They could tell that the little Daoist's safekeeping was just an excuse. He was just looking for an excuse to plunder the treasures. Finally, the little Daoist came to LAN Yun's side. No, don't take my storage ring. LAN Yun cried out like an innocent young girl who had been bullied. He curled up his body and grabbed the storage ring tightly with both hands. This storage ring contained his entire life's savings. All of his belongings were inside. If he lost it, his losses would be extremely heavy. Why are you holding on so tightly? Who do you think I am? I'm just keeping it for you. How could I possibly steal your treasure? The little Daoist shouted. No, how could LAN Yun believe the little Daoist's words? Bang, bang. In the next moment, the little Daoist stomped down twice in a row. One of his feet landed on LAN Yun's face, while the other landed on his crotch. LAN Yun cried out miserably. His body was convulsing unceasingly, his eyes rolled back, and he was foaming at the mouth. A heaven's favorite of his generation had ended up like this. This made many people break out in cold sweat. A gentleman uses his mouth and not his hands. One didn't want to use my hands, but you forced me to use my hands, no, my feet. Why bother? The little Daoist muttered and waved his hand, keeping LAN Yun's storage ring. After putting away the storage ring, the little Daoist's gaze once again fell on LAN Yun's clothes. His eyes lit up as he said, "This set of clothes is made from 1,000,000 years snow silk, right? This is a treasure, and it's a waste to keep it on you. I'll keep it for you." After she finished speaking, she was about to strip off LAN Yun's clothes. "This brother, aren't you going too far? Leave a line in life so that we can meet in the future." She could not hold it in any longer. He and LAN Yun were friends. "Kid, you want to give me something to safeguard?" The little Daoist glanced at Shi. Yen's eyes face darkened. "Although you're strong, you can't be lawless." Shi waved her hand. Bang. Behind Shi, an old man stepped out, exuding a terrifying aura. His body glowed with faint divine light of the world. This was a true emperor. Shi had brought a true emperor with her, so she was very confident. A mere one-star illusionary emperor dares to be arrogant in front of me. Fine, 111 safeguard more things today. The little Daoist muttered and sighed. However, in the next moment, his figure disappeared and he charged directly at the true emperor. The other party was furious. He didn't expect the little Daoist to be so despicable. He hadn't even finished speaking and had already launched a sneak attack. Chapter 2197. Chapter 2197, Fraud, Dandan. Chapter 2197. Chapter 2197 Fraud, Dandan. The Yen clan's true emperor unleashed his world force and charged toward the little Daoist. However, the little Daoist's body flickered and then split into 2, then 4, then 8 and finally 16. "Im kicking, im slapping," the 16 Taoist masters shouted together, some kicked and some slapped. However, they had one thing in common, and that was that their legs and palms were all filled with endless runes. Bang, bang. The Yen clan's true emperor's power of the world was actually broken by the little Daoist. Then, the legs and palms of the 16 figures all landed on his face. The Yen clan's true emperor let out a blood-curdling screech and followed in the footsteps of the LAN clan's members. He was beaten to the ground, convulsing and unable to stand up. Hiss, 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 gasps of shock could be heard. Many people looked at the little Daoist with their mouths agape. This little Daoist's strength was too terrifying. That was a true emperor, and he had been defeated so easily. Yen's eyes face turned pale. At this moment, the little Daoist looked at Shi. Shi broke out in a cold sweat. She forced a smile that was uglier than a crying face and said, "This brother, it's a misunderstanding, it's a misunderstanding. You've taken a fancy to LAN Yun's treasure, so please go ahead, one won't interfere. Get lost, now this lord also has his eyes on yours." The little Daoist sneered and rushed towards Shi. Then there was another scream. The people Shi had brought along and Shi herself were also killed. Then, the little Daoist began to plunder, taking away all the storage rings of the Yen family. The most miserable were Shi and LAN Yun. Their identities were not ordinary. They were the top Heaven's Pride experts and were extremely rich. Even the clothes they wore, the things they wore on their heads, and the things they wore on their hands were all rare treasures. Therefore, it was naturally taken by the little Daoist priest, under the beautiful name of safekeeping. After that, Yan Shi and LAN Yun were stripped by the little Daoist until they were only left with their underpants. The others were really covered in cold sweat. They were secretly glad that they didn't offend the little Daoist. Otherwise, if they were stripped naked in public, it would definitely be a big joke. Many people were mourning for LAN Yun and Yan Shi. Today's harvest is not bad. After the little Daoist kept the items, he grinned and muttered. Although he said it very softly, it was still heard by the others, and they all felt their teeth hurt. The little Daoist's gaze swept across the crowd. Then, he put his hands behind his back and put on the appearance of a peerless master. These people are too despicable. They forced others to be their test stones and even wanted to kill them in the end. That's why they ended up like this. That's why one say we should be kind. Many people looked at him with disdain. You're the most unkind one. Of course, no one dared to say it out loud. They were only thinking about it in their hearts. Otherwise, they might end up like LAN Yun and the others. Finally, the little Daoist looked at Lu Ming and said, "Little brat, I don't think you're welcomed here. I think you're a talented man, so why don't you join me? 111 take you out of here and let you live a good life. How about it?" "All right." Lu Ming nodded without any hesitation. "You're so straightforward?" The little Daoist was suspicious. "It's that straightforward, let's go." Lu Ming smiled, then cupped his fist to Lu Hao and the rest. "Brother Lu, Lu Ming will take his leave. Let's go, let's go." With his hands behind his back, the little Daoist stepped into the air and left the valley. Lu Ming followed him. Soon, they were far away from the valley. On the way, Lu Ming sized up the little Daoist carefully. He looked at him from the beginning to the end and then from the end to the end. "Hey, what are you looking at? Don't tell me you have some special fetishes." The little Daoist felt uncomfortable from being stared at. "Have we met before?" Lu Ming suddenly asked. The little Daoist's eyelids twitched and he quickly shook his head. "No, you've never seen me before." "One, how can you meet me just because you want to?" "Oh, was it? You look very familiar to me, like an old friend." Lu Ming said softly. "Little guy, don't think too much. It's your fortune to meet me. It's also a great opportunity for you. In the future, follow me and help me run errands. You'll get some benefits." The little Daoist's expression turned serious. He placed his hands behind his back and stood straight, exuding the air of a peerless expert. It was just that he looked too young and tender. He was only a teenager, and no matter how one looked at him, he did not have the demeanor of an expert. "Then one have to thank you." Lu Ming smiled and cupped his fists. Then, he suddenly asked, "Dandan, how did you come to the heaven realm from the primordial realm? What kind of person am I?" It's invincible throughout the ages, so it's only natural that it knows about the other passageways. At first, the little Daoist was very proud of himself. However, he seemed to have realized something halfway through his sentence and suddenly stopped. He saw Lu Ming looking at him with a faint smile. "You're Dandan indeed. This guy, actually dare to not recognize me when you see me?" Lu Ming's gaze was very unfriendly. "Lu Ming, you dare to trick me?" The little Daoist gritted his teeth. To be more precise, he was angry. In fact, Lu Ming had his suspicions when he first saw the little Daoist. Although the little Daoist concealed his aura very well and he could not sense it at all, his character and style of doing things were too similar. Lu Ming immediately thought of Dandan. After the little Daoist had defeated LAN Yun and the rest, a series of events made Lu Ming even more certain that this fellow was Dandan. This also explained why the little Daoist was completely on Lu Ming's side the moment he appeared. If it was someone he did not know, why would he be on Lu Ming's side the moment he appeared? Therefore, Lu Ming left with Dandan without any hesitation. However, this guy wanted to show off in front of Lu Ming and was immediately exposed by Lu Ming's words. "I haven't seen you for so many years, but your cultivation has grown so fast," Lu Ming said with a smile. He never thought that he would meet Dandan here, and he was also overjoyed. "One. It's the #1 beast in history, the head of the top 10 battle beasts. Of course it'll improve quickly. Unlike you, who hasn't become a divine emperor yet." Dandan cast a contemptuous glance at Lu Ming, feeling smug. In the past, when he was following Lu Ming, his cultivation was often suppressed by Lu Ming. Now that his cultivation was far higher than Lu Ming's, he immediately felt refreshed. "Dandan, have you recovered your memory?" Lu Ming asked. "It's almost there. So, you can follow me in the future. It'll bring you to all kinds of forbidden lands and all kinds of treasures. One guarantee that your cultivation will improve rapidly." Dandan had a smug look. "Why are you dressed like a little Daoist?" Lu Ming asked curiously. "I've always looked like this after I transformed. As for this Daoist robe, it's convenient for me to take it with me. It's beneficial for my movements." Dandan chuckled. Quack. Two words popped up in Lu Ming's mind. Dandan was dressed like this, and coupled with his style of doing things, he was a typical quack. "By the way, how did you come to the Heaven Realm? I heard that a group of Heaven's favorites came to the Primordial Realm, but you're not one of them. Furthermore, they're all cultivating in seclusion." Dandan asked curiously. Chapter 2198. The Method to Become a Saint Emperor. Chapter 2198. The Method to Become a Saint Emperor. Lu Ming immediately told him how he came to the Heaven Realm. "So that's how it is. It's a good thing that the passageway has collapsed. Otherwise, it would have been really dangerous." Dandan's expression turned serious, which was rare. Then, she glanced at Lu Ming and said, "You're saying that you're in control of multiple laws? Show me." Lu Ming nodded. Instantly, the laws in it spread out. Dandan was dumbfounded, with a dazed expression. After a long time, Dandan finally reacted. "Nest, 7 maxims and 2 ultimate maxims. How did you do it?" Dandan said with her eyes wide open. "So what if there are 7 types of laws? Unfortunately, it's hard to become a Saint Emperor." Lu Ming sighed. "It's indeed difficult to become a Saint Emperor. You're a peerless cripple." Dandan muttered and sighed. "Dandan, you're always bragging. Don't you know there's a way for me to become a Saint Emperor?" Lu Ming asked. "You're the one who's bragging. When did I brag?" Dandan's eyes widened in anger, then she frowned and thought carefully. After a long while, Dandan said, "There have been people like you in the history of the Heaven Realm who have mastered many types of nomological laws below the martial supreme realm. However, in the end, no one became a martial supreme. Everyone failed. They either died on the way to a breakthrough by force or died due to the exhaustion of their lifespans. Is there really no other way? I can't accept this." Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. "Actually, it's not that there's no way." Dandan said again. "Is there really a way?" Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In the ancient times, one knew a man. He was a peerless genius, a rare one. He was ambitious and wanted to walk a new path, a path that no one in the ancient times had ever walked. I don't know how he cultivated. Later on, before he became a Saint Emperor, he had mastered many laws. He was invincible among those at the same level. No one was his match. Unfortunately, his path was cut off and he could not become a martial emperor no matter what he did. He spent his entire life studying the secret to becoming a martial emperor. It was said that he finally made great progress in his later years, but it was too late. He did not have much time left and his potential had been exhausted. In the end, he died of exhaustion. As long as you know the method he researched, it might help you become a Saint Emperor." Dandan said. "It's been countless years since the ancient times. How can we find his method?" Lu Ming asked. He was not sure. After all, so many years had passed. According to Dandan, the evil god tribe had not attacked the Heaven Realm yet. That man's family is still here. They live in seclusion somewhere in the Tai Ching heavenly region. When we leave this place, I will take you there. Don't worry. I will treat you well if you follow me." Dandan had a proud look on her face. Lu Ming could not be bothered to argue with Dandan. At that moment, he was overjoyed. There was finally a way. As long as he found the method left behind by that senior, perhaps he could really break the shackles and become a Dao Emperor. "When are we going out?" Lu Ming asked. "Don't worry, this is the most famous battlefield in ancient times. There was a terrible war between the Heaven Realm and the alien race, and many masters died here. Although so many years have passed, There must be some peerless treasures left. It is a rare opportunity, we can't miss it. We will leave after we collect all the treasures here, Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded. He was not in a hurry. Dandan, you didn't also participate in the battle here back then, did you? Lu Ming asked curiously. No, I'm at another battlefield. It's even more tragic there, Dandan said. She seemed to have recalled something but did not say anything else. The two of them flew all the way, and after a few hours, Dandan suddenly stopped. He landed on the ground, and countless symbols spread out from under his feet. After a while, he revealed a happy expression and said, "There's something up ahead. Do it." Having said that, he sprinted madly with Lu Ming following closely behind. After crossing a few hills, they saw two skeletons under a cliff. One of the skeletons was the skeleton of a huge beast. It seemed to have been left behind by a tiger-shaped divine beast. The other skeleton was in the form of an adult, but it had a huge body that was 4 to 5 meters tall. The human skeleton held a long spear and pierced through the beast's skeleton skull. The beast's skeleton's claw cracked the human skeleton's skull. It was clear that the human-shaped skeleton was an expert from the evil god tribe, while the beast-shaped skeleton was a divine beast. The two experts had died together. Dandan's eyes were burning as she looked at the spear in the skeleton's hand. In addition, there was a fist-sized crystal under the beast-shaped skeleton. The realm core, so many years have passed and the realm core is still preserved. As long as it still contains a trace of energy, it's a great opportunity. Dandan grinned and laughed. However, the two of them didn't get close. The things left behind by such a person would probably contain killing intent and would be extremely dangerous. Watch me. Dandan stomped on the ground, and endless runes spread out. At the same time, he kept waving his hands, and countless runes also flashed. This contains the laws of array Dao, alchemy Dao, and craftsmanship Dao. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Dandan's rune was very profound. It actually combined the 3 types of laws derived from the Dao of inscription. Furthermore, it was a perfect combination and was extremely mysterious. Dandan flickered in the surrounding area, and countless runes sank into the ground. After a moment, Dandan returned and said, "All right, I'm done." Buzz. The ground glowed, and countless runes appeared, forming large characters. It was the word exterminate. These demons of destruction flew towards the spear and the world core. Bang. When the word touched the spear crumbled and turned into dust. Unfortunately, it has lost all its spirituality and has become useless. Dandan shook her head, but the next moment, her eyes lit up. That was because the world core suddenly burst out with light. Kill! Indistinctly, one could hear battle cries coming from the world core. The experts who had died here were all too powerful. Even after such a long time, there was still an undying killing intent. An ordinary expert would definitely not be able to do so. Chi. The word exterminate covered the world core and began to obliterate the killing intent in it. The function of such a formation was very similar to the formation that the evil god race had set up previously. It was able to wipe out the killing intent left behind by experts. Not long after, the battle cries from the world core disappeared, and the light on it also dimmed. "I've succeeded." Dandan was overjoyed. She grabbed the fist-sized world core in the air and grabbed it. Dandan carefully sensed it and said with some pity, "So many years have passed. The energy is almost exhausted, but it's still very useful. Lu Ming, you haven't become a great emperor yet. It won't be of much use to give you the world core. I'll keep it." Done talking, Dandan was not polite at all and directly put it away. Chapter 2199. Chapter 2198, Ancient Scripture. Chapter 2199. Chapter 2198 Ancient Scripture, Someone's Coming. Suddenly, Dandan looked into the distance. Bush. Beams of light flew over, and 8 figures appeared in the sky. Each of the 8 members of the evil god tribe had a powerful aura. When their 3 eyes opened, they were as cold as blades. Their eyes lit up when they saw the 2 skeletons. They must have obtained a treasure. Kill them. One of the evil god race members roared and charged toward Dandan and Lu Ming. Of the 8 evil god race members, one of them had an extremely terrifying aura that far surpassed the Void Emperor realm and had reached the True Emperor realm. In addition, there were also 6-star and 7-star Void Emperors. The 2 weakest people were 4-star Void Emperors. You dare to have designs on this lord, you're courting death. Countless runes appeared on his body, forming a pair of wings condensed from runes. Lu Ming could sense that this pair of wings contained at least 3 types of laws. Buzz. Dandan's figure disappeared in a flash. Her speed was amazing. Lu Ming, I'll leave the 2 4-star illusionary emperors to you. I'll take care of the rest. Dandan's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. He had already charged toward the other party. With a wave of his hand, 6 huge turtles flew out. These 9-6 tortoises were, of course, not living creatures. They were formed from the interweaving of energy and the power of laws. One of them was the largest and it charged towards the True Emperor Realm evil god tribe member. The other 5 tortoises flew towards the remaining 5 people, leaving the 2 weakest ones out. The 2 weakest of them were 4-star illusionary emperors. They charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not take out his large bow. He did not need a large bow to deal with 2 4-star illusionary emperors. The Sword of Death was formed, and Lu Ming charged toward the 2 evil god tribe members. Die! 2 purple beams of light shot out from the 3rd eyes of the 2 evil god tribe members and shot toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming slashed out 2 times in a row, destroying the beams of light. The 2 evil god tribe members' expressions changed slightly. They took out their weapons and charged toward Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming and the 2 of them collided. The 2 evil god tribe members trembled and were forced to retreat. Lu Ming advanced at top speed. The sword light did not stop. In the Sword of Death, different laws trembled continuously, forming a terrifying cutting force. The 2 members of the evil god race tried their best to block a few more moves, but they were completely at a disadvantage. After a few moves, one of the evil god race members was slashed by Lu Ming's sword light and was almost split in half. A deep wound appeared, and the power of death and destruction madly burrowed into his body, causing him to spit out large mouthfuls of blood. His aura began to weaken. These 2 members of the evil god tribe were purple-scaled members of the evil god tribe. They were considered powerful. If they were black-scaled 4-star illusionary emperor evil god tribe members, they would have been killed by Lu Ming with just 2 sword strikes. One of them was injured and his combat strength was greatly reduced. The remaining one could not stop Lu Ming. Come and help us. One of the evil god race members roared. But what he got in response was a scream. The other 6 members of the evil god race were in an even worse state. At this moment, there were already 3 members of the evil god tribe who had been killed by Dandan. They were all 5-star and 6-star. Bang! Then, a 7-star illusionary emperor's body was pierced by Dandan's palm. With a burst of energy, the other party's body was torn to pieces. All of a sudden, there were only 2 people left from the 6 people who were fighting with Dandan. One was a 7-star illusionary emperor, and the other was a true emperor. Given Lu Ming's realm, he could not tell what stars he was at, but his strength was very shocking. At this moment, the 2 of them were shivering. You dare to attack me? Kill! Dandan roared loudly. Both of her hands glowed and a huge turtle was formed. This huge turtle was as large as a mountain and was very familiar with Dandan's original body. The giant turtle's size was astonishing, and it filled the entire sky. Then, it pressed down like a mountain, completely enveloping the entire region. The 2 members of the evil god race had nowhere to run or hide. They could only take the attacks head-on. The 2 of them unleashed their full power, and 2 terrifying attacks blasted toward the giant turtle. This was especially true for the 1-star true emperor. He was a true emperor and his power was extremely shocking. He was much stronger than a 7-star illusionary emperor and the 1-star true emperor of the Yen family. However, the 2 of them couldn't resist the pressure of the giant turtle at all. It was like a mantis trying to stop a car. Bang! First of all, the body of the 7-star illusionary emperor exploded. Under the terrifying energy, it turned into ashes. All The true emperor roared as well. His entire body burst forth with a brilliant purple light, but it was useless. His body trembled and the ground beneath his feet continued to crack. Bang! In the end, the evil god tribe's true emperor's arm exploded, and his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. Following that, his body started to break apart inch by inch. A powerful true emperor was also killed by dandan. When the two 4-star illusionary emperor experts of the evil god tribe saw this scene, they were scared out of their wits. How could he defeat Lu Ming with this distraction? Lu Ming seized the opportunity and slashed one of the evil god tribesmen to death. The remaining evil god tribesman was already severely injured and was even more vulnerable. Lu Ming caught up to him in a few steps and killed him with a single slash. Lu Ming, you're not using the law correctly. It's very rough. You don't cultivate any ancient scriptures, do you? Dandan walked over and asked. No, one created this magical power myself. It can barely display the power of many nomological laws, but it's not strong. I need to constantly deepen my understanding. Lu Ming said. No wonder. It's a pity. Although you've mastered many laws, you can't fully display the power of the laws. I know a few ancient scriptures, but they're very different from the laws you've comprehended. They're not of much use to you. Dandan said. Ancient sutras could only be comprehended after one cultivated to the martial sovereign realm, as it involved many laws. Whether a martial sovereign had an ancient scripture or not, it would have a great impact on the improvement of his cultivation and combat strength. An ancient scripture would record the comprehension and application of at least 2 laws. A warrior could use an ancient scripture to deduce and comprehend other laws. For example, an ancient scripture recorded the comprehension and application of 3 types of nomological laws. If a warrior had only comprehended one of the 3 types of nomological laws, he could study the ancient scripture and deduce the other nomological laws, or comprehend the other 2. When one cultivated this ancient scripture to large success, the 3 laws would also be cultivated to large success. It was like an ancient scripture that contained the laws of fire, ice, and lightning. Any martial emperor who cultivated the fire law could refer to this ancient scripture and derive the ice law or even the lightning law. Moreover, an ancient scripture would also have a magical technique corresponding to the law. For example, if Lu Ming could obtain an ancient scripture that recorded chaos, death, array Dao, alchemy Dao, smithing Dao, extremity, and devouring these 7 types of laws, he would be able to cultivate the divine power technique in it, and his strength would increase tremendously. These sacred art techniques were all comprehended by their predecessors. They could perfectly fuse the power of various laws and fully burst out. The more laws an ancient scripture contained, the higher its grade. For example, an ancient scripture that contained 9 types of nomological laws would be invaluable. This was because a warrior could follow this ancient scripture and continue to comprehend and cultivate, directly reaching the great emperor realm without taking any detours. Learning from ancient scriptures was much better than trying to figure it out by himself. For example, Qiu did not have any ancient scriptures. Hence, it was extremely difficult for her to comprehend a second law after she broke through to the martial supreme realm. She had only managed to do so after spending several years. Chapter 2200. The 6 Feathered Wings. Chapter 2200. The 6 feathered wings in ancient scripture could allow a force to flourish. Similarly, a powerful force could not do without the ancient scripture. With the ancient scripture, the martial emperor realm experts could continue to advance. Otherwise, they would have no direction and would have to rely on themselves to figure things out. That would be much more difficult. For example, Lu Ming was like this now. He could now comprehend any new nomological law as he wished. If he had an ancient scripture, he could follow the records in the ancient scripture and deduce it. That way, his cultivation speed would naturally be much faster. It's a pity that the primal chaos scripture is incomplete. Moreover, I can't go to the primal chaos palace now. At the thought of this, Lu Ming furrowed his eyebrows. Back then, Earth One had told him that as long as he defeated the Son of Chaos, he would be able to head to the Primal Chaos Hall and completely inherit it. He had defeated Yuan Xian a long time ago. However, back in the primordial realm, Lu Ming had tried to use the primordial chaos token to enter the chaos hall many times, but there was no reaction at all. If he had the chaos scripture, he wouldn't have to figure it out on his own. Dandan, you've reached the true emperor level? Lu Ming asked. Dandan's performance was extremely ferocious. Even a true emperor realm evil god tribe member had been killed by Dandan. Lu Ming was extremely curious. No, he's only a peak void emperor. However, killing a few low-level true emperors is a piece of cake. Dandan was pleased with herself. She glanced at Lu Ming from the corner of her eyes and said, "Kid, don't think that you're amazing just because you've comprehended 7 types of nomological laws. I'll let you take a look at mine." After saying that, Dandan waved her hand. In the void, the power of laws gathered madly, filling the air with a brilliant light. 1, 2, 3, there were 9 types. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Dandan controlled a total of 9 types of laws. Among them, Lu Ming even saw an ultimate law, which was the primordial chaos law. The other 8 were all King Dao laws. Array Dao, Alchemy Dao, Weapon Dao, Unperishable Flame, Destructive Lightning. Furthermore, some of the laws were extremely powerful. At least 5 of them had already reached the second realm. No wonder Dandan's combat strength was so powerful that she could kill a true emperor when she was only a peak void emperor. At the sight of Lu Ming's dumbfounded expression, Dandan's vanity was extremely satisfied. She laughed strangely and said, "Kid, do you see? I'm unparalleled in the world. I've already mastered 9 types of nomological laws, and I still have 6 types of nomological laws that have reached the second realm. Let alone the 2-star true emperor just now, I can even kill a 3-star illusionary emperor." Dandan was very proud, with her hands behind her back, looking unparalleled. This fellow, Lu Ming pursed his lips. At the same time, he felt relieved. Dandan hadn't died at all back then. It was just that he had been severely injured, so he had turned into an egg and was finally reborn. Now that he had recovered all his memories, his cultivation speed was naturally amazing, and no one could compare to it. Unlike Bubbles, Bubbles was a brand new life. One had to comprehend it step by step. After being smug for a while, Dandan placed her hands behind her back and sized Lu Ming up. "Kid, since you've comprehended the Tao of crafts, the Tao of arrays, and the Tao of alchemy, I can teach you a magical technique. It won't improve your combat strength much, but it'll greatly improve your ability to escape." "Oh, what kind of divine ability?" Lu Ming asked curiously. Dandan used to be by his side and was suppressed miserably by him. She had not been able to make a name for herself. Now that her cultivation had finally surpassed Lu Ming and her memory had been restored, she naturally wanted to show off in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming would cooperate with him and let him show off more. When he was comfortable with it, Lu Ming could also gain some benefits. Sure enough, Dandan felt extremely comfortable, and her vanity was greatly satisfied. He took out a jade talisman and started to inscribe on it. Then he threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took it and scanned it with his spiritual senses. He discovered that it was a kind of divine art. The 6-feathered divine wings was a type of divine ability. This divine power technique was made up of 6 types of nomological laws. Only by mastering these 6 types of nomological laws could one cultivate this divine power technique to the highest realm. Of course, 3 of them could also be cultivated, but their power was relatively weaker. These 3 were Array Dao laws, Smithing Dao laws, and Alchemy Dao laws. What a wondrous magical power. Unfortunately, it's not an ancient scripture. It's just a simple magical power and can't be used to deduce other laws. Lu Ming's heart stirred. "We'll leave this place first. You can slowly comprehend it on the way," Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded and the 2 of them left the place. Following that, Lu Ming diverted a portion of his attention to travel, while most of his attention was on comprehending the 6-feathered divine wings. A few days later, Lu Ming had gained some enlightenment. With a single thought, the 3 laws of Array Dao, Smithing Dao, and Alchemy Dao filled the air. A pair of transparent wings appeared behind him. With a flap of the wings, Lu Ming's speed increased exponentially. He flashed in the void non-stop as fast as lightning, and it was difficult to track his trajectory. Amazing! Lu Ming's eyes brightened. Casting this kind of divine power technique increased his speed by a few times. He had only cultivated with 3 types of nomological laws. If he could control all 6 types of nomological laws, he didn't know how astonishing his speed would be. I've just finished refining it. As one cultivate in the future, my speed will be even faster. Furthermore, the laws of craftsmanship and alchemy haven't reached perfection yet. If they were perfected, my speed would also increase. Also, the other 3 laws required to cultivate the 6-feathered divine wings are all king path laws. One of them is the penetration law. Should I cultivate this law after this? Lu Ming kept thinking in his mind. In the end, he decided to take it slow, because the laws of alchemy and the laws of craftsmanship had not reached perfection yet. He planned to cultivate these 2 laws to perfection first before considering other laws. But even so, his speed had increased greatly, and his ability to survive had greatly improved. Very quickly, a few days had passed. Lu Ming's control of the 6 divine wings had become more and more proficient. In the past few days, they had also made some gains. They had obtained a total of 2 pieces of the realm core. Although the energy loss was severe, some of it was still preserved. For a martial emperor, it was definitely a treasure that could help them improve their cultivation. It was rare for Dandan to be so kind this time. She gave a piece to Lu Ming. Naturally, Lu Ming kept it without any hesitation. If he became an emperor in the future, this thing would be of great use. Wait, there's someone. Suddenly, Dandan said in a low voice, and then her aura was restrained to the extreme. Dandan had also mastered a technique to conceal her aura and change her appearance, which was no weaker than the divine breath technique. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He activated the divine breath technique, and the 2 of them hid under a rock. Buzz! In the sky, a streak of light flew by at an astonishing speed. What a strong cultivation! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The beam of light swept past, but Lu Ming could still see it. It was an evil god tribe member. He was extremely powerful and definitely not an ordinary true emperor. A peak true emperor actually dares to fly at such a fast speed. He's really looking for death. She muttered to Lu Ming via voice transmission. Kill! At this moment, a battle cry rang out, shaking the heavens and earth. Following that, a terrified roar sounded. Chapter 2201. Chapter 2200. A Castle. Chapter 2201. Chapter 2200. A Castle. Lu Ming and Dandan quickly walked out from under the rock and looked ahead. In the void before them, a figure appeared with a brilliant light. This was a human, and his killing intent shook the heavens. With a loud shout, the entire sky trembled. He held a battle saber in his hand, and he slashed out at the evil god race being. The evil god race member howled out in anger as he unleashed all of his cultivation. However, it was useless. As the saber light slashed out, the evil god race member was split into 2. After killing the evil god tribe member, the figure stood in the air. After a while, it turned into specks of light and dissipated. It was the mark of an expert that could not be destroyed. When it sensed an expert approaching, it would appear and kill him. Even true emperors will be in danger if they enter this ancient battlefield. It's fine if a high-stage true emperor keeps a low profile, but flying at such a high speed in such a high-profile way is simply courting death. Dandan said in disdain. The 2 of them immediately rushed over and took the true emperor's storage ring and bracelet. In the blink of an eye, a few days had passed, but they had gained nothing in these few days. Boom! Boom! Suddenly, a violent roar came from the front. The 2 of them concealed their auras and flew into the sky. They hid in the clouds and slowly floated forward. Soon, they saw a castle in front of them. At this moment, there was a group of people from the evil god race surrounding the castle and attacking it continuously. It was unknown what material the castle was made of, but it looked very old. The gate of the castle was tightly closed, and there was a layer of light on the gate. The evil god race members were bombarding the castle's gate, trying to break it open. There's a castle here? Lu Ming was extremely surprised. They had been walking around for so many days, but this was the first time they had seen a building. The castle that appeared here must be extraordinary. It might be the temporary imperial residence of a peerless expert. Dandan's eyes were already shining. Dandan, do you want to go in? However, there are so many evil god tribesmen in front of us. With just the two of us, we are still far from enough. Lu Ming said. In front of the castle, there were at least 100 members of the evil god tribe. From the way they were attacking the castle's gate, one could tell that there were quite a number of experts, and there were quite a number of true emperor realm figures. There were even high-stage true emperors. This time, the evil god tribe had sent a large number of experts in. Although it was very dangerous for a high-stage true emperor to be in this region, as they would be detected by the power law imprint and killed, the evil god tribe had sent a large number of experts in. However, there would always be some lucky ones who would not encounter the mark of a powerhouse. Although Dandan was strong, she was no match for a high-stage true emperor. The two of them frowned as they tried to think of a solution. One can set up an absolute killing formation in advance. If one can lure the evil god race into the formation, one can kill them. However, I need to lure them in. Dandan frowned and muttered. I'll go lure them. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. You're going to lure them? No, even though you've learned the 6 divine wings and your speed has increased greatly, he's still not fast enough to escape from a true emperor. Dandan shook her head. Don't worry, what if one attack from 100 miles away? Lu Ming smiled and the large bow appeared in his hands. Dandan looked at the big bow carefully, and her eyes were filled with a fiery light. She said, Fallen Star Bow, this is the Fallen Star Bow. Kid, you actually got the Fallen Star Bow? As she said that, Dandan almost drooled and reached out to grab the big bow. Lu Ming kept it hurriedly and looked at him with a sad expression. You know the origin of this bow? Lu Ming asked. Of course, this bow was famous in the ancient times. It was the weapon of a peerless expert and was said to be able to shoot down the stars in the sky with one arrow. It's extremely terrifying. Unfortunately, the loss of its spirituality is too severe and it's far from its power back then. Dandan said, but her eyes were still shining with a fiery light. The Fallen Star Bow? Lu Ming muttered. He was already very satisfied. Even though the spirituality was severely damaged, it was enough for him. He could only pull it open a little. Dandan, let's go back and set up the formation. You set up the formation, 111 go lure people. Lu Ming changed the topic so that Dandan would not keep thinking about the Fallen Star Bow. Dandan sighed, lamenting the injustice of the heavenly Tao. Why was it that he was so wise, brilliant, and unparalleled, but his luck was not as good as Lu Ming's? In the end, the two of them retreated and chose a place thousands of miles away. Then, they began to set up the formation. Dandan's mastery of runes and formations had reached an unimaginable realm. Any nomological law could be turned into runes in his hands and integrated into the large formation. This was a realm that Lu Ming was far from reaching. An hour later, Dandan shouted, I'll be done soon. This formation is enough to kill a peak true emperor. Go and lure them in. I hope they haven't broken through the castle yet. Lu Ming nodded and dashed in the direction of the castle. Not long after, Lu Ming was 100 miles away from the castle. Lu Ming stood in the air and took out the Fallen Star Bow. Given Lu Ming's current cultivation level, he could shoot from 1,000 miles away if he drew the Fallen Star Bow. However, the power would be relatively weaker. Within 100 miles, the Fallen Star Bow's power could be fully unleashed. Lu Ming pulled the Fallen Star Bow and a rainbow arrow streaked across the void, shooting toward one of the evil god tribe members outside the castle. The speed was too fast and it was a sneak attack. The other party didn't have time to react. Bang! A 6-star illusionary emperor from the evil god tribe was shot to death by the arrow. Who is it? The other members of the evil god tribe roared. They swept their gazes and immediately discovered Lu Ming. It's the human race. You're courting death. Some of the evil god race members roared in anger. Lu Ming turned and left. He cast the six-feathered divine wings and ran at an astonishing speed toward the place where dandan had set up the formation. The castle's main gate is about to be breached. Well, attack the main gate first. One of the true emperor-level evil god race members spoke. They did not pursue Lu Ming. After running for a while, Lu Ming realized that the evil god tribe was not chasing after him. Whoa, it seems that killing one won't work. Let's kill a few more. Lu Ming returned to the past and landed 100 miles away. Bush. This time, Lu Ming drew his bow and shot 3 arrows. This time, the evil god tribe was prepared, but it was still useless. 2 6-star Void Emperors and 1 7-star Void Emperor were severely injured. Damn it, you human insect. You're seeking your own death. You guys, come with me and kill him. One of the evil god tribe's true thearchs bellowed and led a few high-level Void thearchs in pursuit of Lu Ming. Lu Ming cast the 6-feathered divine wings, turned around, and ran. The distance of a few thousand miles was covered in the blink of an eye. Boom. In the sky, an extremely huge turtle came crashing down. A true emperor of the evil god tribe and a few high-level Void Emperors were killed instantly. Dandan stepped down from the sky and said, "He's just a 1-star true emperor. He doesn't even need me to activate the formation. Lu Ming, you're not good enough. Lure a few more experts over. How about this? Leave the fallen star bow to me. 111 do it." Dandan's eyes rolled. Lu Ming did not need to guess to know that dandan was coveting the fallen star bow. Lu Ming would not let him have his way. He said, "There's no need. I'll go and lure them. I'll definitely lure you a few big fish." Chapter 2202, Luring and Killing the Evil God Race. Chapter 2202, Luring and Killing the Evil God Race. Lu Ming returned to 100 miles away from the castle. The moment he returned, he was discovered by the evil god tribe. It's that human ant again. He's not dead. Damn it. The people who chased after him before are most likely dead. Some of the evil god tribe members roared in anger. Lu Ming stood in the air 100 miles away with a sneer on his face. He then stretched out his middle finger and pointed downwards. This provocative action infuriated the evil god tribe even more. Lu Ming then took out the fallen star bow and pulled the bowstring. A rainbow-colored bowstring shot out toward one of the evil god tribe members. The evil god tribe member was a high-stage true emperor. Lu Ming did not kill the Void Arch. Killing a few more Void thearchs would not help the overall situation. In the blink of an eye, the arrow arrived in front of the high-level Void Emperor. "You're courting death." The evil god race member bellowed as a destructive light shot out from his third eye, clashing with the arrow. Boom. There was a burst of dazzling light in the sky. The arrow that Lu Ming shot was destroyed. As expected, with his current cultivation level, his arrows were useless against true emperors. He couldn't kill them, let alone high-stage true emperors. However, this action completely infuriated the high-stage true emperor. However, Lu Ming was too lazy to care. He shot a few more arrows in succession, aiming at the advanced true emperors. Of course, they couldn't hurt each other, but they had completely infuriated each other. "You're looking for death. Kill this ant." In an instant, a few members of the evil god tribe charged toward Lu Ming. There were a total of 4 of them, and they were all high-stage true emperors. They were extremely terrifying and had shocking speed. Lu Ming turned around and ran. He flapped his 6-feathered wings continuously and ran toward the place where dandan had set up the formation. However, the evil god tribe members behind him closed the distance between them rapidly. They were both advanced-stage true emperors and their speed was too fast. Even Lu Ming's 6-feathered divine wings were useless as the distance between them was closing rapidly. Fortunately, it was only a distance of a few thousand miles and he could cover it in an instant. If he was any further, Lu Ming would really be caught up. Even so, when Lu Ming ran to the place where dandan set up the big array, he was almost caught up by the other party. Lu Ming swooped down and flew along the ground. The other party followed suit and chased after Lu Ming at a high speed. "Brat die! One of the evil god race member's eyes shone with a terrifying light as he shot a destructive light at Lu Ming. "It's dangerous." Lu Ming was shocked. This destructive light was too terrifying. If he was hit, he would die. As Lu Ming rushed forward, he turned around and drew the bow. An arrow flew toward the destruction light beam but was destroyed by it. The destruction light beam did not stop and continued to blast toward Lu Ming. "Don't tell me I have to use the Celestial Emperor's sword." Lu Ming had a thought in his mind. Lu Ming did not want to use the energy of the Celestial Thearch's body unless he had no other choice. This time, the amount of energy stored in Celestial Emperor's corporeal body was not much, only a little more than 10%. Once used, it would be easy to exhaust the energy inside. At this moment, the surrounding void lit up and a turtle shell condensed to block the light beam. Thump! The destructive beam of light struck the turtle shell and produced a violent boom. The turtle shell was not destroyed and had blocked the destructive beam of light. "We've arrived at the formation." Lu Ming was overjoyed. At this time, Dandan's figure appeared in the sky. His body was filled with endless runes, communicating with the heaven and earth. "Kill!" he shouted in a low voice. Countless runes appeared on the ground and in the air. Then, the runes condensed into divine beasts. There were true dragons, phoenixes, cheilants, and great ROCs. These divine beasts surrounded the 4 members of the evil god race. "Not good, we've fallen into a trap. Charge out." One of the evil god race members was shocked. He knew that he had fallen into a trap. "It's too late to leave now." Dandan sneered. The true dragon roared as it twisted its body and pounced toward one of the evil god race members. At the same time, the phoenix let out a long cry, the ROC spread its wings, and the Qilin stepped into the sky. All of the godly beasts pounced toward the 4 members of the evil god race. The 4 members of the evil god race unleashed their full power and tried their best to resist the impact. The aura caused Lu Ming to tremble. "He's so strong. He's at least a 5-star true emperor, or even a 6-star true emperor." Lu Ming secretly clicked his tongue. Back then, in the ancient moon sanctuary, Lu Ming had exterminated the Golden Crow clan, the Wan family, the Wind clan, and many others. At that time, he had controlled the heaven and earth physical body and felt the power of those advanced stage true emperors. For example, the patriarch of the Golden Crow clan, the head of the Wan clan, the head of the Phoenix Palace, and so on. The strength of these overlords was only so. However, the 4 great evil god tribes' powerhouses were completely no match for the various divine beasts. It was a complete one-sided battle. The arm of an evil god was torn off by the true dragon, and blood splattered everywhere. Following that, the chest of another member of the evil god race was pierced through by the sharp claws of the phoenix. The next moment, the great ROC flew over, and its wings were like blades as it chopped off the head of the member of the evil god race. The battle was one-sided, and it did not take long for the 4 evil god tribe powerful beings to be killed. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Dandan said that his big array could kill a peak true emperor. It was indeed true. 1 6-star true emperor and 3 5-star true emperors. The harvest this time is not bad. I think more than half of the peak experts of the other party have come. Dandan laughed. There were more than 100 people on the other side, but there weren't many high-stage true emperors. There were only 6 or 7 of them, and 4 of them had been killed in an instant. After all, it wasn't easy for a high-stage true emperor to come here. It was very dangerous. As long as he could get rid of the opponent's high-stage true emperor, he wouldn't have to fear them anymore. Let's pack up and hide. The other party will most likely send someone over to investigate when they see that these people have not returned, Lu Ming suggested. Dandan nodded and cleaned up the evil god tribe's corpses. The 2 of them then flashed to a mountain valley not far away. Lu Ming took out a pile of raw gemstones and absorbed their energy to recover his holy power. He had been drawing the bow and shooting 7 to 8 arrows, which consumed a lot of his saint power. Not long after, Lu Ming's holy power was restored to its peak. However, no evil god tribe had come over. The 2 of them were puzzled. Logically speaking, the evil god race would definitely send people over to investigate if the powerful true emperors had not returned. However, not a single one of the evil god race had come. This was very strange. Could it be that they have already broken through the castle's gate and entered the castle? Lu Ming, let's go and take a look, Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded and the two of them flew towards the castle. However, not long after he flew out, he heard intense battle cries. At the entrance of the castle, there was a fierce battle. It's them. From afar, Lu Ming and Dandan could see that the ones who attacked the evil god tribe were LAN Yun, Yan Shi, and the other Heaven Realm people. There were more people from the Heaven Realm, more than 200 of them. Compared to the last time they had gathered in the valley, there were many more experts. There were even a few high-stage true emperors, completely suppressing the evil god tribe. Damn it, these people actually took advantage of us. Dandan gritted her teeth. They had killed 4 of the enemy's high-stage true emperors, but these people had taken advantage of them. This made Dandan very unhappy. Chapter 2203, Chapter 2203, Fishing in Troubled Waters. Chapter 2203, Chapter 2203 Fishing in Troubled Waters. If they hadn't killed the 4 high-stage true emperors, the people from the Heaven Realm might not have been a match for the evil god race. But now, he had completely suppressed his opponent. The members of the evil god tribe were being killed one after another. The evil god tribe's people roared in anger, but it was useless. A few high-stage true emperors were also killed by the Heaven Realm's experts. More than 100 members of the evil god race were all killed. Then, the experts from the Heaven Realm began to bombard the gate of the castle. Boom, boom, boom. The castle's gate kept exploding, and the light covering it flickered. It was much dimmer than before, and it looked like it was going to be destroyed soon. Let's go there in disguise. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan. Just what one wanted. Dandan nodded, her eyes flashing coldly. They did not want to let others take advantage of them, especially when LAN Yun and Yan Shi were among them. The two of them changed their appearance drastically. They changed their clothes and became completely different people. Then, the two of them flew towards the castle. Who is it? Someone noticed them and looked at them. It's our own people, our own people. Dandan quickly called out. Seeing that they weren't from the evil god race, everyone was relieved. If it wasn't the evil god tribe, it was naturally the people from the Heaven Realm. LAN Yun's gaze also swept toward Lu Ming and Dandan. I thought it was Lu Ming and the other two. It turns out that it's not them. What a pity. Otherwise, I would have crippled them this time. LAN Yun muttered. This time, the LAN family had sent another expert. With an advanced true emperor, he was full of confidence. As long as he met Lu Ming and Dandan, he would definitely make them regret it. The moment he thought of being beaten up so miserably by Dandan, LAN Yun's hatred went crazy. LAN Yun did not avoid it and Lu Ming and Dandan heard him clearly. Dandan gritted her teeth and rolled her eyes. Lu Ming knew that Dandan must be up to no good and was thinking of how to deal with LAN Yun. Boom, boom. At this moment, the gate of the castle kept shaking and making a loud noise. It's going to be blasted apart. Let's put in more effort. Many people shouted and attacked with even more effort. Heaven Realm trash, die. At this moment, a furious roar came from the distance. Rays of purple light streaked across the sky and rushed over. They were people from the evil god tribe. Furthermore, their numbers were extremely shocking. There were more than 100 of them. They were all experts, and their bodies were covered in purple scales. Previously, Lu Ming had learned from Dandan. The evil god tribe was also divided into different levels. The black-scaled evil god tribe was the most ordinary evil god tribe. Their status was also the lowest, and their combat strength was also relatively weak. As for the purple-scaled evil god race, they were the aristocrats of the evil god race, and their strength was far above that of the black-scaled evil god race when they were at the same level. Above the purple-scaled evil god race, there was the even more noble evil god race, such as the royal race of the evil god race. Their battle prowess was even stronger, and they were almost invincible in a battle of the same level. However, they were extremely rare. The expressions of the people from the heaven realm changed. Quick! Blast open the door! Someone roared. Almost everyone attacked, and beams of brilliant light bombarded the castle gate. Boom! With an explosion, the light of the castle gate was destroyed, and the gate opened. Charge in! The people of the heaven realm rushed into the gate one after another. Kill! Behind them, the evil god tribe had also arrived. They followed closely behind the heaven realm's body cultivators and rushed through the gate. Lu Ming and Dandan followed the crowd and rushed into the door. As soon as they entered the gate, they were not inside the castle as they had imagined, but a vast hill with no end in sight. It was like a small world. Behind the castle, there was a small world. Kill! Behind them, the evil god tribe had arrived, and the two groups of people were engaged in an intense battle. Lu Ming and Dandan mixed in with the crowd and made a symbolic move to fight with the two evil god race members. Lu Ming did not even make a move. He hid behind Dandan because if he made a move, many of the laws would be exposed. Hundreds of people from both sides were killing each other. It was extremely tragic. Experts were killed from time to time and fell in this area forever. Lu Ming discovered that there were experts beside LAN Yun and Yan Shi. They were very powerful and were advanced true emperors. Obviously, the LAN family and the Yan family were both terrifying forces in the heaven realm. They had even sent a high-level void emperor. One must know that it was very dangerous for a high-level void emperor to enter this place. If they were unlucky, they would die. If they were sent in, they had to be prepared to die. If they were not strong or had a deep foundation, they would not dare to do so. Buzz! Buzz! Just as the two sides were fighting, blood-red figures rushed over at an extremely fast speed. That's... Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He saw that the blood-red figures were in both human and beast forms. After they rushed over, they immediately pounced on the heaven realm and the evil god tribe. A huge blood-colored wave also pounced toward Lu Ming. Dandan appeared and kicked the blood-red giant wolf away. "It's a puppet," said Dandan. At the same time, Lu Ming could tell that it was a puppet. It was a strange puppet that was filled with killing intent. Its entire body was blood-red, and it even reeked of blood. Moreover, they were not afraid of death and continued to pounce on the people from both sides. The heaven realm and evil god tribes experts could only stop fighting and focus on dealing with these blood puppets. Bang, bang, bang. One after another, the crimson puppets were destroyed. Not long after, most of the blood-colored puppets that had charged over were finally killed. However, there were also dozens of corpses left behind from the heaven realm and the evil god tribe. The two sides gathered in a corner, sizing each other up with cold, killing intent. However, he didn't make a move. It was very likely that this was a small world left behind by an unparalleled expert. It was possible that there would be a great opportunity. Both sides had the same thought. He would first search for treasures and obtain opportunities, then kill the other party. Let's go! The first to move was the evil god tribe. They rushed forward in the left direction and disappeared into the hills. Then, the people from the heaven realm also moved. They rushed forward along the right side. Lu Ming and Dandan followed in the middle of the crowd. Roars could be heard from time to time. There were some blood puppets moving between these hills. As soon as they saw living creatures, they would pounce at them, but they were defeated one by one. After moving forward for a distance, he still didn't find anything. Let's split up. This way, the chances of us getting an opportunity will be higher. LAN Yun was the first to speak. The others nodded in agreement. Then, the heaven realm's people split into groups and moved forward in different directions. LAN Yun and Yan Shi led the experts of the LAN and Yan families and headed in one direction. Both of their families had sent their experts. There were high and low-level true emperors. They were very confident and didn't want to go with the others. Let's follow them, Dandan said in a low voice. Lu Ming and Dandan quietly followed LAN Yun. They did not notice at all that they were behind Yan Shi and the rest. Chapter 2204. Chapter 2204, Help. Chapter 2204, Chapter 2204 Help. The world behind the castle looked like a small world. The gate of the castle was the entrance. It was also very desolate inside, with not a single blade of grass growing. There were also some crimson puppets scattered around. LAN Yun and Jian, she brought their family members and gathered together. There were about 20 of them, and there were many experts. Along the way, they killed many crimson puppets. At the same time, he also saw a few skeletons. However, they all belonged to the evil god race, and there were no treasures left behind. These guys still want to deal with us. Unforgivable. They dare to go after my plan. Behind him, he gritted his teeth, his eyes flashing with cold light. Lu Ming touched his nose. He thought to himself, they have been bullied so badly by you. It's no wonder they want to take revenge. However, Lu Ming was also thinking of how to get rid of LAN Yun and the rest without anyone knowing. He knew that Dandan was thinking of a plan and immediately asked, "What idea do you have?" "Let's lure the evil god race over and let them fight amongst themselves. What do you think?" Dandan suggested. "Great minds think alike. Let's go," he said. Lu Ming smiled. Then, the two heroes sneaked in the direction of the evil god tribe. The two of them completely concealed their auras and carefully avoided the blood puppets. Not long after, they saw a group of evil god tribe members, bastard of the evil god race, die. Dandan let out a loud roar and rushed over. Even from a distance, she clapped her hands repeatedly, and countless runes condensed into a few sword lights that slashed toward the evil god race. 2 high-level Void Emperors and 1 one-star True Emperor were killed instantly. From afar, Lu Ming took out the Fallen Star bow and shot 2 arrows consecutively, killing 2 evil god tribes' Void Thearchs. Heaven Realm trash, kill. The evil god tribe was enraged. There was a blood feud between the 2 races and they would not rest until one of them was dead. Now, Lu Ming and Dandan actually dared to take the initiative to kill their people. They were simply courting death. Instantly, the group of evil god tribe members charged toward Dandan and Lu Ming. "Run!" Dandan shouted loudly, turned around, and ran. 6 divine wings appeared behind him, and his speed was astonishing. As for Lu Ming, he had already put away the Fallen Star bow and spread out his 6-feathered divine wings. He flew rapidly in the direction of LAN Yun and the others. Not long after, he saw LAN Yun and the others. "LAN Yun, quickly come and help us. Let's kill those evil god race bastards together." Lu Ming and Dandan shouted and rushed toward LAN Yun and the rest. LAN Yun and the others were carefully exploring when they suddenly heard a few shouts. Looking towards the source of the sound, LAN Yun immediately wanted to curse. He saw Lu Ming and Dandan shouting and rushing over. Behind them, there was a group of evil god tribe members. There were more than 20 of them. "You guys, quickly get lost," LAN Yun bellowed. Naturally, he did not recognize Lu Ming and his partner as they had disguised themselves. Lu Ming and Dandan did not seem to have heard LAN Yun's words. They continued to shout and rush towards LAN Yun and the rest. When he rushed into LAN Yun's group, Dandan shouted, "Kill that evil god race bastard. You're the ones who will die." The members of the evil god tribe roared in anger and started to attack. In their opinion, the people of the Heaven Realm were all in the same group. Immediately, 2 of the LAN clan's illusionary Thearchs were killed by the evil god tribe. The LAN family and Yen family had no choice but to fight back and fight against the evil god race. However, the LAN family and the Yen family had indeed sent many experts. There was 1 advanced True Emperor each, and they were all 6-star True Emperors. On the evil god tribe's side, there was only 1 6-star True Emperor and 2 other 5-star True Emperors. They were suppressed by them in an instant. The battle between the 2 sides was unusually brutal, and people were constantly killed. Lu Ming and Dandan flickered in the crowd at an astonishing speed, avoiding the attacks. In the end, the Yen clan and the LAN clan's top forces were even stronger. A 6-star True Emperor had killed 2 5-star True Emperors of the evil god tribe. Then he joined forces with another 6-star True Emperor to kill the 6-star True Emperor of the evil god tribe. In the end, the 6-star true emperor of the evil god tribe was killed even though he was seriously injured. As soon as the 6-star true emperor died, he was no longer able to resist and scattered. The experts of the LAN family and the Yen family chased after him and killed him. In this battle, they had killed all the evil god tribe members. However, the LAN and Yen families had also suffered heavy losses. More than 10 of them had died in battle, and a few of them were heavily injured. Even the 6-star true emperor had been severely injured and had been counterattacked by the evil god tribe before his death. LAN Yun's and Yen Zai's faces were so dark that they were about to drop. They looked at Lu Ming and Dandan with murderous intent in their eyes. It was all Lu Ming and Dandan's fault. If the two of them had not brought the evil god race, they would not have suffered such a great loss. At this time, figures flickered not far away, and people from the other heaven realms rushed over. They had obviously heard the sound of fighting and rushed over. "Thank you for saving us. Otherwise, we would have been in danger. We, the people of Heaven Realm, should help each other." Before LAN Yun and the others could speak, Dandan had already spoken. With one sentence, she tied them together, making it difficult for LAN Yun and the others to flare up. LAN Yun and Yen, she felt a tightness in their chest and almost vomited blood. Dandan was the first to express her gratitude and tie them all to the Heaven Realm. There was a rule in Two World City that on the battlefield, the creatures of the Heaven Realm were not allowed to kill each other. They had to fight against the enemy together. They really could not find a reason to deal with Lu Ming and Dandan. Furthermore, there were other people coming. "You too, stay away from us." LAN Yun gritted his teeth as he spoke. He then ordered people to keep the storage bracelets left behind by the evil god race's people and left this place. "What a pity, what a pity." Dandan sighed. It was a pity that the evil god tribe's people were unable to kill LAN Yun and the others. Lu Ming also felt that it was a pity. "Why don't we try again?" Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan. "You've turned bad, kid. But one like it." Dandan had a wicked smile on her face. Immediately, the two of them sneakily followed behind LAN Yun and the others. This time, LAN Yun and the rest were much more cautious. They looked around, but Lu Ming and his partner's technique of concealing their aura was too brilliant. They did not notice them at all. After secretly observing for a while, the two of them rushed toward the evil god tribe. After a while, the two of them rushed towards LAN Yun's group while yelling and shouting. "Nest, it's you guys again. Fuck." As soon as LAN Yun saw Lu Ming and the rest, he immediately broke out in curses because he was really very angry. After that, LAN Yun and the others also turned around and ran. This time, they were no longer fools. Nest, he actually ran away. "Help." Dandan screamed and chased after LAN Yun and the rest with Lu Ming at top speed. "You guys get lost," LAN Yun roared at the two of them. "We're all from the Heaven Realm, but you guys just watched us die." Lu Ming roared. "Don't drag us down with you if you want to die." LAN Yun bellowed. "Help." Dandan and Lu Ming chased after LAN Yun and the others relentlessly, followed by a wave of evil god tribe members. All of their eyes were red, and they wished they could tear Dandan, Lu Ming, and the others into pieces. Chapter 2205. Mulan, Jian feiliu? Chapter 2205. Mulan, Jian feiliu. LAN Yun, Yan Shi, and the rest were running wildly in front while Lu Ming and Dandan were chasing after them. Behind them was a string of evil god tribe powerhouses. The three groups of people were all very fast, and in the blink of an eye, they had crossed a large forest. The commotion here finally attracted the attention of others, and a group of people flew over. It was the other people from the Heaven Realm. When they saw the evil god race, they started charging over. When the evil god race saw that the Heaven Realm experts had increased in number, they did not dare to give chase anymore. They turned around and ran. "What a pity!" Dandan sighed unceasingly. It was truly a pity that they didn't cause LAN Yun and the others any losses this time. "You guys? You're looking for death." At this moment, LAN Yun was extremely furious. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he led his men and charged towards Lu Ming and Dandan. "What do you want?" You want to attack your own people on the battlefield? Dandan immediately shouted. You've brought the evil god tribe's people to charge at us time and time again. One suspect that you're doing this on purpose. You're trying to frame us. LAN Yun said coldly. Bullshit. Daddy here has a grudge with the evil god race. When I saw the evil god race, one didn't want to let them off. That was why one went to kill them. However, there were simply too many of them, so we could only run. To think that we would meet you guys twice. This shows that we are fated. Dandan began to lie through her teeth and talk nonsense. However, the other party could not refute this reason. Was it wrong to kill the evil god race? Was it wrong to run away when you couldn't win? It just so happened to run to LAN Yun's side, so they could only blame their bad luck. You, LAN Yun, Yan Shi, and the others were tongue-tied and speechless. They were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Their eyes were wide and round. They could not wait to cut Lu Ming and Dandan into pieces. However, now that there were other people from the heaven realm, it was not appropriate for them to do so. Let's go! In the end, LAN Yun and the others were helpless and could only bring their people and leave this place. It seems like this trick won't work. These guys have learned their lesson. After muttering to himself, the two of them moved forward and began to search the area. Look, there's something unusual over there. Suddenly, Lu Ming looked ahead. There, he could vaguely see a red light jumping around. It was unusually bright and dyed half the sky red, like fresh blood. Buzz. Whoosh. Obviously, the others had also noticed the abnormality and flew in that direction. Red light is everywhere. There's a treasure. Let's go. Dandan's eyes were burning, and the two of them also flew towards that area. From other directions, there were also streaks of rainbow light flying over. This was the direction that the Heaven Realm's experts were searching in. Hence, no experts from the evil god tribe were rushing over. In front of them, there was a huge and majestic mountain. On one side of the mountain, there was a cliff that was thousands of meters high. The red light was coming from the bottom of the cliff. Everyone flew to the bottom of the cliff and found a pool there. The pool was not filled with water, but a bright red liquid, like fresh blood. In the pool, there was a figure sitting cross-legged, covered in a bright red liquid, but his appearance could still be seen. A beautiful woman. Mulan. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. He had never expected to meet Mulan here. Mulan was either cultivating or receiving some kind of inheritance. A small blood-red pagoda was suspended above her head, exuding a vast pressure. It was high and mighty, like the might of the heavens. Without a doubt, this small pagoda was definitely a supreme treasure. Treasure, this is definitely a treasure. Many people's eyes were burning with greed. It was the same for Dandan. She was almost drooling as she stared at the small tower. This is the treasure of a powerful existence. Dandan muttered, her eyes shining. She's my friend. Lu Ming quickly sent a voice transmission to Dandan, causing her face to fall. However, at this moment, LAN Yun, Yan Shi, and the others could no longer hold back. This treasure is mine. It's mine. One figure after another rushed out toward Mulan, trying to grab the blood-red tower above her head. Damn it! Lu Ming shouted angrily. He wanted to save her, but it was too late. Buzz. Suddenly, the sound of a sword rang. On the cliff behind the blood pool, there was a cave. The sound of the sword came from the cave. Then, a sword light flew out of the cave at an amazing speed, like a ray of light. A few of them with low cultivation were directly cut in half by the sword light and died on the spot. The others were also blocked by the sword light. Buzz. The next moment, a figure appeared beside Mulan with a crystal-clear long sword floating above his head. Jian feiliu. Lu Ming was once again dumbfounded. The person who appeared next to Mulan was a young man with dashing eyebrows and heroic eyes. He was extremely handsome. It was Jian feiliu, whom Lu Ming had not seen for many years. Back when Lu Ming was wandering in Nine Dragons, Jian feiliu was severely injured by the Wang family and the other family's geniuses. His cultivation was crippled. Later, he entered the blood pool and was taken away by a mysterious person under the blood pool. It was suspected that he was the remnant soul of an expert. It had been many years since they last met. He didn't expect feiliu to still be alive. Not only could he cultivate, but his cultivation had also reached an amazing level. The people he had just killed were all martial sovereigns. Treasure, another treasure. Dandan looked at the long sword above feiliu's head with shining eyes. Buzz. The long sword trembled slightly and emitted a fluorescent light. A terrifying sword chi whistled and shot into the sky. This was definitely a peerless sword. It was mostly thanks to this sword that feiliu was able to block so many experts with one sword. The others were also staring at the long sword above feiliu's head with burning eyes. Brat, who are you? How dare you kill our people? People of Heaven Realm can't kill each other on the battlefield. Kneel down and surrender. LAN Yun shouted. I'm not from Two World City. Feiliu said coldly. Moreover, you were the ones who wanted to attack me without any explanation. Can't you see that my friend is currently accepting the inheritance? He's still trying to quibble after killing someone. Take him down. LAN Yun roared. His eyes were burning with fire as he kept turning the long sword above feiliu's head and the small tower above Mulan's head. This was definitely a rare treasure, a treasure left behind by an ancient powerhouse. Wait a moment. At this moment, Lu Ming roared loudly. Everyone stopped and Lu Ming dashed out. It's you. What do you want to do? After LAN Yun saw Lu Ming, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Previously, Lu Ming and Dandan had brought the evil god tribe to their place and caused them to suffer heavy losses. He had been thinking about it. Dandan quickly set up the formation. Lu Ming first sent a voice transmission to Dandan. Dandan nodded and sneakily walked around. With every step she took, countless runes sank into the ground. Lu Ming's gaze swept across LAN Yun and the rest. Then he pointed at feiliu and Mulan and sneered. I can tell that these two are humans. They are our people. It's too much for you to steal the treasures of your own people. Chapter 2206. Chapter 2206. Reveal your true appearance. Chapter 2206. Chapter 2206. Reveal your true appearance. Lu Ming's words made many people's eyes flicker. However, the fire in some people's eyes did not fade at all, such as LAN Yun, Yan Shi, and a few others. What's too much? These treasures must have been left behind by peerless experts from ancient times. These two are so young, so how can they unleash the power of these treasures? I'm going to keep these treasures and hand them over to the experts in Two World City. Only in the hands of those experts will these treasures be able to display their brilliance and be used against the evil god tribe. LAN Yun sneered and quibbled. What a joke! Since when have we Heaven Realm experts stooped so low as to snatch away the opportunities and treasures of the younger generation in order to deal with the evil god race? If that's the case, we'll never be a match for the evil god tribe. Lu Ming sneered in response, full of sarcasm. This LAN Yun was obviously greedy and wanted to take the treasure, but he found such a grand reason. What a joke! Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, some of them looked ashamed and took a few steps back. They seemed to be hesitating whether to make a move. Mulan and feiliu were obviously humans. They had clearly violated the rules of Two World City by attacking humans and snatching their treasures in the ancient battlefield. However, there were still some people who were clearly unwilling to give up, and the greed in their eyes became even stronger. Brat, it's no use even if you have a glib tongue. It's a waste to give these treasures to them. It's such a waste of heavenly resources. Today, I'll definitely take these treasures and give them to the experts of Two World City. LAN Yun continued, not backing down in the slightest. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. This LAN Yun was really despicable and shameless. LAN Yun, since you say so, then hand over all the treasures and various resources on you. Those treasures and resources are also a waste on trash like you, so it's better to give them to stronger people to use. Lu Ming sneered. What did you just say? Killing intent burst out from LAN Yun's eyes. Lu Ming actually called him trash. I said you're a piece of trash. Can't you hear me? Hand over all your treasures and resources to me. It's a waste to give them to you anyway. Lu Ming added. Ah, what a joke. So you're saying that you're very strong? LAN Yun laughed out loud. He was a top-notch Heaven's Pride expert in the Heaven realm. Before he became an emperor, he was a son of heaven. Lu Ming actually called him trash. Brat, you provoked me first. If I don't break your 4 limbs today, my name isn't LAN Yun. LAN Yun shouted angrily. If it's not blue cloud, then green cloud will do. There's a patch of green on top of my head. Lu Ming was talking nonsense with him mainly to stall for time so that Dandan could set up the array. At this moment, Dandan was quietly shuttling through the crowd, and one rune after another was buried into the ground. Brat, I'm going to cripple you. LAN Yun was so furious that he pounced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming cast the 6-feathered divine wings and a pair of transparent wings appeared. In a flash, he dodged LAN Yun's attack. Buzz. Whoosh. LAN Yun launched a storm-like attack. However, Lu Ming's 6-feathered divine wings were too fast, and he dodged all of LAN Yun's attacks. Lu Ming did not fight back. Naturally, he was stalling for time to buy time for Dandan to set up the array. In the blink of an eye, LAN Yun had made hundreds of moves, but he did not touch Lu Ming at all. Many people were shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so powerful. He was completely fine under LAN Yun's violent attacks. Didn't you say it was very strong? If you have the ability, then fight me head-on. LAN Yun bellowed. Lu Ming could not be bothered with him and continued to dodge with his movement technique. After dozens of moves, the blue cloud still did not touch Lu Ming at all. LAN Yun, 111 help you. At that moment, Yan Shi dashed out and launched an attack at Lu Ming. LAN Yun and Yan Shi were both 3-star illusionary emperors. Moreover, both of them were top geniuses of the Heaven realm. They had mastered one of the strongest laws and had cultivated it to the 2nd realm. In addition, they had also mastered other laws. Their strength was very shocking. The two of them joined forces and attacked Lu Ming from 2 directions. It was not so easy for Lu Ming to dodge them completely. Boom! LAN Yun, who was behind Lu Ming, struck out a palm. This palm was as fast as lightning and as swift as thunder. Its power was shocking. At the same time, Yan Shi also launched an attack. He slashed out layers of saber light, which enveloped Lu Ming in 3 directions. In this case, Lu Ming had nowhere to run. Lu Ming am done. At this moment, a voice entered Lu Ming's ears. It was Dandan. Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly. Boom. At that moment, the aura on his body burst forth. 7 types of laws glowed with different lights and flickered on Lu Ming's body. A giant hammer appeared in Lu Ming's hands. This was his original divine power, the Hammer of Chaos. Boom, 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 boom. Lu Ming swung his hammer 4 times in a row, blasting in all directions. Immediately, the saber light that Yan Shi was slashing at Lu Ming shattered. His body trembled violently and he retreated continuously. Boom. One of the hammers struck LAN Yun's palm, erupting with a massive boom. LAN Yun's body also trembled and retreated. It's you? The primordial realm's peerless trash. You're Lu Ming. LAN Yun roared. Lu Ming attacked with all his might, and 7 types of laws burst forth. LAN Yun immediately recognized Lu Ming. What? A peerless trash body of the primordial realm? It's him. At the scene, many people reacted. Back then, when the prodigies who went to the primordial realm returned, they said that a peerless cripple had appeared in the primordial realm. He hadn't even become a sovereign, but he had already mastered 2 supreme laws and many king path laws. This matter had spread widely among the Heaven realm's prodigy circle, and many people had heard of it. Jian Feiliu had the biggest reaction. His body shook and he looked at Lu Ming with bright eyes. He was shocked by the 2 words Lu Ming. Haha, that's me, your grandpa. Lu Ming laughed heartily, revealing his true appearance. Seeing Lu Ming's face, Jian Feiliu's eyes lit up. He was shocked, surprised, and in disbelief. He had come to the Heaven realm and acknowledged a terrifying expert as his master. His cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds over the years, and he had made rapid progress. Naturally, his vision had also become much higher, far from what it was before. But he never expected that a friend he made in the divine wilderness continent's East Baron would be able to come here. At the same time, his combat strength was also shockingly strong. This was really out of his expectations. "Brother Lu, let me help you," Jian feiliu shouted as the long sword above his head kept buzzing. "No need. You protect senior sister Mulan," Lu Ming said. "Lu Ming, you've killed a member of the LAN family. You'll pay the price today." "There's no need to talk about rules with such a person." LAN Yun roared and asked the other members of the LAN family to attack. At that moment, the true emperor from the LAN family moved. He exploded with a terrifying aura and pressed down on Lu Ming. "Shameless guy, watch me." At this moment, Dandan shouted and waved her hands, and dense runes appeared on the ground. The runes condensed into chains. Each chain was as thick as an arm, and they swept towards the experts of the LAN family. Chapter 2207. Chapter 2207, Abusing LAN Yun Again. Chapter 2207. Chapter 2207 Abusing LAN Yun Again. Dandan made her move. She controlled the formation and formed chains that bound the experts of the LAN and Yen families. Those figures at the empty emperor realm could not resist at all. They were bound by the chains and could not move no matter how much they struggled. LAN Yun and Yen Shi were also entangled. "It's you deserve to die," LAN Yun bellowed in rage. He recognized Dandan, and his eyes turned red. They struggled madly, but it was of no use. They were tightly bound by the chains. Boom, boom. The LAN family's true emperor struggled madly, trying to break free. However, a low-level true emperor wasn't of much use. The chains were getting tighter and tighter. Relying on numbers to win, is it? Let's see how you're going to win by numbers. Lu Ming stepped on the air and walked toward LAN Yun and the rest. "Lu Ming, you dare to touch me?" LAN Yun bellowed. "Even now, you still dare to be so arrogant. You're really stupid." Lu Ming came to the top of LAN Yun's head and stomped on LAN Yun's face. Bang! LAN Yun's face was firmly stepped on by Lu Ming, leaving a shoe print. "All!" LAN Yun roared in embarrassment and anger. The last time he was stepped on by Dandan, his face exploded and his teeth flew out. Now that his injuries had recovered, he was stepped on by Lu Ming again. Since he was young, he had always been a proud son of the heavens. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? However, during this period of time, in just a few days, he had been continuously stepped on the face. He really wanted to vomit blood. "What are you shouting for? It's really fucking unpleasant to hear." Lu Ming was filled with disdain and stepped on LAN Yun's face again. This kick directly caused LAN Yun's face to swell up, and his teeth fell out, flying out. LAN Yun immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. A portion of it was blood from his teeth falling out, while the other portion was blood from anger. He was so angry that he vomited blood. "Everyone, this person is lawless and lawless. Let's attack together and take him down." LAN Yun roared, summoning the people from the other heaven realms. However, the others looked at each other, and no one made a move. Lu Ming did not kill anyone and did not hit anyone hard. He did not break the rules. Furthermore, quite a few people were competitors with LAN Yun. Seeing LAN Yun being abused, they couldn't even wait to be happy. Why would they stand out? At this moment, even Yen Shi shut up and behaved herself, afraid that Lu Ming would target her. "You still dare to shout again?" Lu Ming stepped on LAN Yun's face again. LAN Yun wailed. Unfortunately, his entire body was locked up by chains. He stood there upright and was completely unable to move. He could only be stepped on passively. "Kill this kid, quickly kill this kid!" LAN Yun bellowed. Boom. One of the LAN family's 6-star true emperors wasn't chained up. He was still fighting against the chains. At this moment, the world energy on his body began to burn, and all sorts of law energy exploded with shocking power as it attacked the chains. A 6-star true emperor was simply too powerful. In order to break through to the true emperor realm, One had to have a strong world force, a stable small world, and a law. To break through to the true emperor realm, one had to reach the second realm of 3 laws. One could only imagine how terrifying the laws that a 6-star true emperor could control were. For a moment, the formation chains condensed by dandan actually could not lock the other party. It wasn't that dandan's formation wasn't strong enough. If she was given an hour to set up the formation, she could even lock a peak true emperor, let alone a 6-star true emperor. However, the time given to him just now was too short. LAN Yun's eyes lit up. "Brat, you're finished. I'm going to cripple you and break your 4 limbs." LAN Yun roared madly. He hated Lu Ming to the core. "You talk too much nonsense." Lu Ming continuously stomped on LAN Yun's face. His face almost exploded. He was no longer human and could not even recognize him. Then, the fallen star bow appeared in Lu Ming's hands. He suddenly pulled the fallen star bow, and a rainbow arrow appeared. Buzz! Lu Ming released his grip and the bowstring vibrated. It was so loud that people's eardrums were buzzing. The 7-colored arrow suddenly flew out and shot toward the LAN family's 6-star true emperor. At such a close distance, the power of the fallen star bow was unleashed to its maximum. However, a 6-star true emperor was too strong. He roared and released sound waves from his mouth. The sound wave contained many different laws and charged toward the rainbow arrow. The arrow was blocked. It trembled in the air, hitting the sound waves, but in the end, the arrow still shattered. "Lock it!" Dandan shouted and waved her hands continuously. Countless runes filled the air, and more chains appeared, entangling toward the LAN clan's 6-star true emperor. In order to resist Lu Ming's arrow, the LAN family's 6-star true emperor had split a bit of his strength and was almost bound by Dandan's chains. Again! Lu Ming pulled the bowstring once again. The surging holy power was constantly surging into the bow. Another arrow was shot toward the glabella of the LAN clan's 6-star true emperor. "Lu Ming, let me help you." On the other side, Jian feiliu called out. He waved his hand and the long sword above his head trembled. It turned into a sword light and slashed toward the LAN clan's 6-star true emperor. The power was extremely shocking. The LAN clan's 6-star true emperor roared and tried his best to resist. He waved his arms continuously and released a terrifying force to resist the chains around him, Lu Ming's arrows, and Jian feiliu's sword light. Bang! Bang! With a loud bang, the arrow was broken and Jian feiliu's long sword was also hit and flew back to Jian feiliu's head. However, the LAN family's 6-star true emperor was too distracted in order to resist Lu Ming and Jian feiliu's attacks. In the end, Dandan seized the opportunity and countless chains flew toward the LAN family's 6-star true emperor madly. The other party was at a disadvantage. 1, 2, a few chains wrapped around the LAN family's 6-star true emperor's body, causing his movements to slow down. LAN Yun's heart sank. However, at this moment, rays of purple-red light shot over from the distance. It was an expert from the evil god tribe. Clearly, the evil god tribe's powerhouses had also been attracted by the red light emitted by Mu Lan's body. Lu Ming's expression changed. Jian feiliu's expression also changed drastically. In the blink of an eye, the people from the evil god tribe arrived. They saw Mu Lan sitting cross-legged in the pool with a single glance, and their eyes emitted a fiery glow. "Take the treasures. We can't let the people from the heaven realm get them." Someone from the evil god race spoke. All of a sudden, the members of the evil god tribe charged toward Mu Lan. "Damn it!" Lu Ming bellowed. He drew the fallen star bow and shot a few arrows in succession. Bang! Bang! A few members of the evil god race were shot to death by Lu Ming in the air. At the same time, Jian feiliu also controlled the long sword above his head to slash at the evil god race. However, there was a terrifying expert from the evil god tribe who punched out and sent Jian feiliu's long sword flying. Jian feiliu's face turned pale and he almost spat out blood. Although his long sword was powerful, his cultivation was not high enough. He was only a 2-star void emperor, so he could not fight against those true emperor realm experts. Chapter 2208, Chapter 2207, Characters from the same era as dandan. Chapter 2208, Chapter 2207 Characters from the same era as dandan. Dandan also made a move, but she couldn't block it at all. You're looking for death. Some of the evil god clansmen had their eyes on Lu Ming and were charging toward him. Ha! He deserves it. LAN Yun laughed heartily in his heart. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he began to struggle, wanting to break free from the restraints of the chains. Boom! The LAN family's 6-star true emperor finally broke free and came to LAN Yun's side to protect him. Let's attack together and kill the evil god race. We can't let the evil god race get their hands on the treasures. Dandan shouted and urged the others to take action. Many people looked at each other and made their move. There was nothing they could do about the evil god race. They were their common enemy. No matter who got their hands on the treasure, they could not let it fall into the hands of the evil god race. However, the Heaven Realm's people were too late. Some of the evil god tribe's powerhouses had already gotten close to Mulan. Jian Feiliu was the only one beside Mulan, so he couldn't stop her at all. It seems like I can only use the Celestial Emperor's corporeal body. Lu Ming had a sudden thought. Just as he was about to use the Celestial Thearch's body, a layer of radiance suddenly emanated from the cave behind Mulan and Jian Feiliu and blocked them. Boom! The experts of the evil god race had arrived. Their terrifying attacks slammed into the light. However, the light did not move at all. Not even a ripple was produced. Master! Jian Fei was overjoyed. Then a figure walked out of the cave. It was an old man with a head full of white hair. He wore a gray robe and had a cold expression. No one could sense any aura from him, nor could they tell his cultivation level. He was just like an ordinary person. However, after he swept his gaze over them, everyone's hair stood on end. It was a terrifying sight. Not good, let's go. One of the evil god tribe's high-stage true emperors had a look of fear on his face. He let out a loud roar and retreated frantically. Evil god race, kill. The gray-robed elder said coldly. As soon as he opened his mouth, many long swords appeared in the air and shot out. All of the evil god tribe members had their foreheads pierced through. Whether it was the illusory emperor or the true emperor, under the sword light, there was no difference. They were like babies, unable to withstand a single blow. All of a sudden, all 100 or so members of the evil god race were completely annihilated. CSI, on the side of the heavenly realm, everyone gasped. This gray-robed elder was definitely a terrifying expert. He was at least at the great emperor realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill a high-stage true emperor so easily. However, how did a great emperor realm expert come here? Could it be that the other party had been living here all this time? However, one thing was for sure, the other party was from the heaven realm, a friend and not an enemy. So it's this guy. This guy is actually not dead yet. Dandan came to Lu Ming's side and muttered softly. You know him? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Bubbles. Wondu. We've met once before. However, he's just a junior. When you see me, you have to respectfully call me senior. Dandan sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and started to brag again. However, Lu Ming was still very shocked. It was obvious that this was a figure from the same era as Dandan, an ancient powerhouse who had lived until now. It was obvious that the other party had not died after the battle that year. Master! Jian Feiliu saluted the old man respectfully. N. The gray-robed old man nodded, then looked at the people from the heaven realm and said in a cold voice, You all can leave this place. This is this old man's cultivation ground. It's senior. Some people cupped their fists and did not dare to say anything more. They bowed to the old man and turned to leave. Master, these two are my friends. Jian Feiliu pointed at Lu Ming and Dandan. Can they stay? The gray-robed old man swept a glance at Dandan and Lu Ming, especially at Dandan a few more times. Senior, can you allow me to take the two of them away? LAN Yun spoke. At this moment, he had already broken free from the chains with the help of his subordinates. He understood that he would not be able to get the treasure, but he did not want to let Lu Ming and Dandan off just like that. He wanted to take them away. Get lost. The gray-robed old man's reply was only one word. Senior, I'm the descendant of the LAN family. Please give me some face. LAN Yun cupped his fists. Get lost. This time, the gray-robed old man's voice was even colder. A powerful force burst out with the word scram and gushed toward LAN Yun and the others. The expressions of LAN Yun and the others changed drastically. Their bodies were sent flying and they fell to the ground, each of them spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. Even the 6-star true emperor didn't have the power to fight back. Young master, let's go, let's go. The 6-star true emperor took LAN Yun and the group of people and retreated in a sorry state. They disappeared in the blink of an eye. Haha, evil swordsman, long time no see. One didn't expect you to still be alive. After the people from the heaven realm left, Dandan laughed and walked over to greet the gray-robed old man. Jian feiliu was dumbfounded. The gray-robed old man glanced at Dandan coldly and said, "It's you, you cowardly fellow. You really didn't die. It's true that good people don't live long, while scoundrels live for 1,000 years. Hey, what are you saying?" Dandan was displeased, her eyes wide open. The gray-robed old man no longer paid attention to Dandan. His figure flashed and he entered the cave. Haha. Lu Ming laughed heartily. Brat, what are you laughing at? Dandan glared at Lu Ming. He had just bragged that the gray-robed elder was his junior. Now, he was being treated like this by the gray-robed elder. He really could not bring himself to lose face. Sigh, people's hearts are not what they used to be. Seeing that my cultivation is low now, I'm no longer the same as I was in the past. This attitude is so sad and lamentable. Dandan sighed. Lu Ming. Long time no see. At this moment, Jian feiliu walked over and greeted Lu Ming. It's been a long time indeed. It's been more than 10 years, almost 20 years. Lu Ming said, sighing that time had passed too quickly. It had been such a long time since they last met. Fortunately, Jian feiliu was not only fine, but his cultivation had also skyrocketed and he had become a monarch. It was really hard to predict. This senior is... Jian feiliu looked at Dandan with a respectful expression. Dandan actually knew his master, so he naturally regarded Dandan as a senior expert. I am the invincible. Dandan placed her hands behind her back and began to brag. Lu Ming immediately interrupted him. He's just a quack. He brags all day. Ignore him. What? Lu Ming, what did you just say? Dandan was unhappy. She gritted her teeth and looked at Lu Ming. That's right, brother Jian, what happened to you back then? Also, senior sister Mulan, why is she here? What's her condition now? Lu Ming asked a few questions in succession. He was indeed full of questions. Mulan is your senior sister? Jian feiliu was surprised. That's right, she's my senior sister. Previously, there was a change in the divine wilderness continent and a passageway appeared. 6 years ago, senior sister Mulan stepped into that passageway and never returned. One stepped into that passageway not long ago as well, and that's how I ended up here. Lu Ming briefly explained the matter. Chapter 2209. The Evil God Tribe's Goal. Chapter 2209. The Evil God Tribe's Goal. Lu Ming briefly explained how he came to this place. Jian feiliu also briefly explained his experience. It turned out that when Jian feiliu's cultivation was crippled and he was on the verge of death, he was taken away by a mysterious man after entering the blood pool. That mysterious man was his master, the gray-robed elder, the evil swordsman that Dandan had mentioned. According to what Jian feiliu said, the passageway to the divine wilderness Nine-Dragon City had already cracked a little. Evil swordsman had brought Jian feiliu here from the blood pool to cleanse his meridians and marrow before cultivating evil swordsman's unique sword Dao. The cultivation conditions for evil swordsman's unique sword Dao were very strange. When Jian feiliu's cultivation was crippled, it just so happened to fit evil swordsman's unique sword Dao. All these years, he had been cultivating here with evil swordsman, and his cultivation had progressed at a lightning speed. Now, he was already a 2-star illusionary emperor. Lu Ming nodded. Evil swordsman was definitely a very powerful existence. In ancient times, he knew dandan and was able to participate in the Great War back then and survive. This was enough to show his strength. It was normal for Jian feiliu to improve so quickly under the guidance of such an expert and in the heaven realm, which was a good cultivation environment. Senior sister Mulan, what's going on with her? Lu Ming's gaze shifted to Mulan. 6 years ago, Master saved Miss Mulan at the entrance of the passage. Miss Mulan resonated with the inheritance of a friend of Master by chance and inherited that senior's inheritance. 5 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Jian feiliu said. 5 years? You're saying that senior sister Mulan has been like this for 5 years? Lu Ming asked. That's right. According to Master's speculation, Miss Mulan should be waking up soon. Jian feiliu said. Lu Ming nodded. He was prepared to wait here for Mulan to wake up. Next, Lu Ming and dandan stayed here. Time passed day by day. The Taiqing heavenly region was adjacent to the Hunyuan heavenly region. The passageway between the two heavenly regions had long become a battlefield. The two worlds had been fighting for many years and countless bones had been buried. On one side of the battlefield was the Taiqing heavenly region. The two-world city was situated there, blocking the entrance to the Taiqing heavenly region. On the other side of the battlefield was the territory that the evil god tribe had occupied. There were many strange and malevolent-looking buildings here, and countless powerful beings of the evil god race were gathered here. Within one of the buildings, a group of evil god race members were having a meeting. Most of the evil god tribe members were covered in purple scales, and only a few of them were covered in black scales. Each and every one of them had extremely terrifying auras, and they were all terrifying experts. The most shocking thing was that there was a member of the evil god tribe at the very top. This member of the evil god tribe's body was almost the same size as a normal human, but he was slightly taller than a human. He was about 2 meters tall, and there were no scales on his body. However, there was a third eye in the middle of his brows. He had a head full of purple hair, and he was extremely eye-catching. This was the royal clan of the evil god tribe. The patriarch has sent another message. The passage is not completely sealed, and there is still hope of breaking it. Therefore, this time, we must break the passage no matter what. Once we have that passage, our army can go straight to the primordial realm. Then, through the primordial realm, we can enter the Taiqing heavenly region and destroy the heaven and yuan worlds in one fell swoop. You guys, send your men into the battlefield. The royal member of the evil god tribe gave the order. Yes, at all costs. The members of the evil god tribe acknowledged the order. Not long after, many figures flew towards the battlefield, towards the ancient battlefield where Lu Ming and the others were. There was no lack of great emperors among them. The heavenly emperor realm figures did not dare to enter, because once they entered, they would attract all the marks and be hunted down by all the marks. Unless one's cultivation was at a certain level and not weaker than those peerless experts in the past, they would not be afraid of those marks, such as the few old ancestors of the evil god race. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. During this period of time, Lu Ming had been cultivating while waiting for Mulan to wake up. One day, while Lu Ming was cultivating, a shadow flashed in the cave and a figure appeared. It was Evil Swordsman. Evil Swordsman hadn't shown up in the last half a month. According to Jian feiliu, his master was severely injured in the ancient battle. He was lucky that he didn't die. His cultivation and battle strength were no longer what they used to be. He had been in seclusion to heal his injuries all these years. Why did he suddenly appear now? Evil Swordsman raised his head and looked at the sky. He seemed to have a lot on his mind, and after a long time, he sighed. It seems that the passage hasn't completely collapsed or been sealed. It can still be opened. A passageway? Lu Ming could not help but feel worried when he heard that. He asked, Senior, the passage you mentioned, do you mean the passage that leads to the primordial realm? That's right, little guy. You must have come here from the primordial realm through that passage, right? Evil Sword Guest said. That's right, Senior. Could it be that the evil god tribe is going to enter the primordial realm through that passageway? Immediately, Lu Ming was extremely worried and his heart was in his mouth. If the evil god tribe were to enter the primordial realm through that passageway, the divine wilderness continent would be finished. It's not that easy, you guys see. Evil swordsman waved his hand, and an image immediately appeared in the air. Many figures shuttled through the air. They were all members of the evil god race. Suddenly, light filled the air, and a figure appeared. It was the mark of a peerless expert. Kill! The moment the mark of this unparalleled expert appeared, his killing intent soared into the sky. Wielding a long spear, he pierced through the void and instantly killed 7 to 8 evil god race members. After that, the long spear swept out once more, and a terrifying figure exploded in the air. That is, the evil god race at the Emperor realm. Lu Ming was shocked. The last member of the evil god race that had been blown up was definitely at the Great Emperor realm. However, he was still unable to block the attack from the mark of the expert. Spread out! The evil god tribe members roared and flew in all directions. The mark of that peerless expert continued to pierce out with the long spear, killing a few of the evil god tribe's experts. However, the rest of the evil god tribe managed to escape. This is just a corner. This time around, many experts from the evil god tribe have entered, and there are no lack of Great Emperor realm figures. Their goal is that passageway. Look again. Then, evil swordsman waved his hand again, and the scene changed again. On the screen, a void appeared. The space in that area was extremely unstable. From time to time, a spatial crack would appear and disappear. It was extremely ferocious and terrifying. Not far away in the void, there were many figures standing in the air. All of them were powerful beings from the evil god tribe. Some of the evil god race members were attacking the unstable void, and some of them were setting up arrays. Could this be the passageway from before? Lu Ming made a guess. That's right, this is the entrance to that passage. An astonishing battle took place there, and the passage was destroyed, but it wasn't completely sealed. There's still hope of opening it. Evil Sword Guest said. Senior, what's going on? Why is there a passage here? Lu Ming was puzzled and he felt more and more anxious. Chapter 2210, Must Stop. Chapter 2210, Must Stop. Lu Ming was full of doubts. There was a passageway there that led to the divine wilderness continent. Furthermore, why was the divine nine-dragon cauldron and the nine-dragon veins suppressing the divine wilderness continent? Why did the divine nine-dragon cauldron fly away separately previously? Lu Ming asked all his doubts. This is, evil swordsman muttered to himself for a moment, that passage was naturally formed when the Heaven and Yuan worlds first opened. Naturally formed? Lu Ming muttered. That's right. A naturally formed passageway is completely different from a man-made passageway. It's very difficult to seal a naturally formed passageway completely. Even if it's sealed, it will slowly open itself as time passes. It's like forcefully tearing a crack in space or opening a passage. The space will quickly heal and repair itself. A naturally formed passage is the opposite. If you want to seal or suppress it, it will naturally open and return to its original state. Evil swordsman explained. Lu Ming understood now. A naturally formed passageway was naturally formed. It was fixed forever, just like any space. You have the ability to tear apart any space, but that space will quickly recover. It was the same for the Khanate passage. If you sealed it, it would naturally open. That passageway leads to the primordial realm. Hence, in ancient times, it became an important place for the evil god tribe to attack. That's why a peak-level battle occurred here, and a large number of peerless experts died in battle. After that, the 9 dragons, one of the top 10 battle beasts, entered the primordial realm and sealed the other end of the passage. On the side of the heaven realm, there were also experts who sealed the passage on this side. However, that passageway is a passageway formed from the upper sky. No matter how it is sealed, it will slowly restore itself. Even if the person who sealed it is a rare peak expert, It can't be sealed forever. After so many years, the seal finally can't completely seal the passageway. The passageway is slowly opening. Evil swordsman's words made Lu Ming suddenly see the light. Many things that he could not figure out in the past were now clear to him. He finally understood what the divine nine-dragon cauldron and the 9 dragon veins were for. They were used by the 9 dragons to seal the passage. He used to think that the divine 9-dragon cauldron just happened to have the same name as the 9 dragons. Now, it seemed that it was clearly a treasure of the 9 dragons. More than 10 years ago, the passageway slowly returned to its original state and was no longer sealed. This was why the primordial chi became denser when the divine wilderness and heaven were connected. The reason why the divine 9-dragon cauldrons had flown to the heaven realm was probably to stall for time. The divine 9-dragon cauldrons had flown to the heaven realm to prevent the aura from spreading and for the evil god tribe to detect it. As expected, evil swordsman continued to speak. Some time ago, the evil god tribe finally discovered the abnormality of this passageway. They sent out a few terrifying experts in an attempt to completely occupy that passageway and had a huge battle with the experts guarding the entrance. In the end, the experts guarding the passageway and the treasures left behind by the 9 dragons wanted to destroy that passageway. From the looks of it now, it hasn't been completely destroyed. Senior, can the passageway be completely destroyed? Lu Ming asked in surprise. No, it can only be destroyed for a short period of time. After a period of time, it will recover automatically. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to go through so much trouble to seal it back then. Evil swordsman shook his head and sighed. Then what should we do now? Lu Ming was really anxious. This involved the safety of his parents, relatives, and friends. He could not stay calm. This passageway must not be occupied by the evil god tribe. Otherwise, all the efforts of everyone over the ages will be in vain. Evil swordsman said, his voice cold and full of killing intent. Senior, we can send the news to Two World City. They won't sit by and do nothing. Lu Ming suggested. This was not only related to the primordial realm, but also to the heaven realm. Once the evil god tribe entered the primordial realm, they would enter the hinterlands of the supreme pure heaven region through the passageway of the primordial realm. Then the heaven realm would be completely finished. The people who came in before are all from Two World City. Pass the news to them and let them pass the news to the people of Two World City. Evil swordsman nodded. Buzz. At this moment, a buzzing sound was heard. Mulan, who had been quiet all this while, finally made a move. The small tower above her head emitted a dazzling radiance. The blood in the blood pool began to squirm and flow into Mulan's body. Soon, the blood in the blood pool disappeared without a trace. A powerful aura emanated from Mulan's body. Emperor-to-be. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Mulan's cultivation base was at the Emperor-to-be realm. The inheritance that she had obtained was definitely the inheritance of an extremely powerful existence. It might not be as simple as a simple inheritance. Otherwise, Mulan would not have been able to reach the Emperor-to-be realm in just 5 to 6 years. This little guy is so compatible with that guy's inheritance. It's rare. Evil swordsman muttered. Dandan looked on with envy. Buzz. The small blood-red tower trembled slightly before shrinking rapidly. It flew into Mulan's forehead and disappeared. Mulan slowly opened her eyes. A blood-red light flashed in her eyes before it was concealed. Her gaze swept across Lu Ming and the rest. When her gaze landed on Lu Ming, her petite body could not help but shiver and she revealed a look of disbelief. Am I hallucinating again? Mulan mumbled. She blinked her big beautiful eyes a few times to make sure. Lu Ming smiled. Senior sister Mulan, long time no see. Don't you recognize me? Lu Ming. Mulan murmured with a surprised expression. She flew out of the small pool and was still in disbelief. Junior brother Lu Ming, why are you here? Of course it's because I'm worried about you. I miss you, so I followed that passage to find you. The one who spoke was not Lu Ming but Dandan. Lu Ming touched his nose and was speechless. Mulan's face was flushed red. Two little fellows, stop flirting. It's time to get down to business. Evil swordsman's words caused Mu Lan's face to turn even redder. However, her cultivation had increased greatly, reaching the emperor to be realm, and she had also obtained the inheritance of a peerless expert. Her confidence had also increased greatly, and her original personality had also been completely revealed. She came to Lu Ming's side and stared at him without blinking, seemingly unwilling to move her eyes away. "Nest, it's so mushy," Dandan cried out. "Junior brother, what happened?" Mu Lan ignored Dandan and questioned Lu Ming. Lu Ming briefly explained the passage. Mu Lan's pretty face turned pale after hearing it. She understood the severity of the matter. Furthermore, her family members were all in the divine wilderness continent. "I'm going to rush to the passageway immediately. When I make my move, I'm afraid it'll be dangerous for you to stay here. You should enter my small world first." Evil Sword Guest said. "Senior, I'll stay outside. One might be able to help." Lu Ming said. No matter what, he still had the celestial thearch's physical body. It might be useful at a critical moment. "I'll also stay outside," Dandan said. Chapter 22:11 Evil Swordsman's Strength. Chapter 22:11 Evil Swordsman's Strength. Alright, the two of you, enter the small world. Evil Swordsman didn't give any explanation. He waved his hand and put Jian, Feiliu and Mu Lan into the small world. Then, a wave of energy swept up Lu Ming and Dandan. In a flash, they appeared outside the castle. Then, Evil Swordsman brought Lu Ming and the rest to Lu Hao and the rest. Moreover, Lu Ming discovered that when Evil Swordsman walked in this area, the marks of the unparalleled experts did not attack him. Lu Ming guessed that perhaps Evil Swordsman's realm was high enough or he had some secret technique to avoid the mark's attack. Upon seeing Evil Swordsman, Lu Hao and the others were shocked and saluted him respectfully. Lu Ming immediately told her about the passageway. What? Lu Hao and the others were also shocked when they heard this. They understood that this was a major event that concerned the fate of the heavenly realm. "Let's leave this place immediately and send a message to the seniors in Two World City." Lu Hao and the others agreed. They didn't dare to waste any time and rushed out of the battlefield. Evil Swordsman led Lu Ming and Dandan toward the passage. Not long after, they approached the passage and hid in the high sky, watching from afar. Many members of the evil god race were circling around a patch of void and were moving around. Rays of light were entering the void. The evil god tribe also formed many giant hands, trying to tear the void apart and reopen the passageway. These evil god tribe members are setting up a formation. They want to use the power of the formation to reopen the passageway. Evil Swordsman sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and Dandan. "Senior, what should we do?" Lu Ming also sent a voice transmission. "When the experts from Two World City arrive, well, kill them all. Now, we can only fight it out with blood. There's no other way." However, the other party's Heavenly Emperor Realm experts don't dare to come. At most, they're at the peak of the Great Emperor Realm. Although I'm still injured, I'm still confident in dealing with those at the Great Emperor Realm. Evil Swordsman said, an ice-cold light flashing in his eyes. Upon hearing this, Lu Ming's heart felt more at ease. Then they waited quietly. One day later, "They're here," Evil Swordsman suddenly said. In the distance, a few figures flickered and came over. They were very secretive. If it were not for Evil Swordsman's reminder, Lu Ming and the others would not have noticed them. Evil Swordsman's lips moved slightly, as if he was transmitting his voice. The next moment, those figures came toward Lu Ming and the others. There were a total of 3 people, 2 old men and 1 middle-aged man. They were covered in blood and had obviously gone through a great battle. Although the 3 of them had completely concealed their auras, Lu Ming could still sense that they were definitely terrifying experts. "Senior." After the 3 of them arrived, they cupped their fists towards Evil Swordsman. "Why are there only 3 of you? This is such a big matter. Why didn't the others come?" Evil Swordsman frowned. The others won't be able to come." An old man sighed. His hair was in a mess and his body was covered in blood. He had obviously gone through a bitter fight. What's going on? Evil swordsman asked. Lu Ming and Dan Xen were also on tenterhooks. They had a bad feeling. A day ago, the evil god tribe suddenly sent out a large army to attack the two-world city and surrounded it. The two-world city is still in a fierce battle, and most of the experts are being held back. There were originally more than 10 of us who broke out of the encirclement and came here to stop the evil god tribe from breaking open the passageway. However, we went through a battle on the way here, and after entering this battlefield, we were attacked by the marks of the experts. Out of the more than 10 of us, only the 3 of us were left to come here. After the old man finished speaking, he let out a long sigh. The dozen or so people who had broken out of the encirclement were all experts. It was a pity that they had lost so many people in order to come here. It was definitely a huge loss. However, in order to stop the evil god tribe, he had no other choice. For example, the evil god tribe had sent a large number of experts into this place in order to open up this passageway. Their losses would definitely be shocking. It seems like the evil god tribe is well prepared. They are afraid that the powerful cultivators of Two-World City will find out and come to stop them. Evil swordsman's cold light grew even more intense. There's no other way now, he said. We can only kill our way over. At this moment, a bright light shone from the tunnel ahead. The evil god tribe seemed to have already set up the formation and were starting to activate it. The endless light condensed into a huge spiral drill-like thing, facing the void. It seemed to be drilling a new passage where the original entrance was. Boom, boom, boom. The space trembled and crumbled, revealing a dark cave. There's no time to waste. Do it. Loose, stay here. Evil swordsman glanced at Lu Ming and Dandan. Then, with a flash, he rushed toward the many experts of the evil god tribe. Evil swordsman's speed was extremely shocking, and in just a few flashes, he was already close to the evil god tribe. Enemy attack. There were too many experts from the evil god tribe. As soon as evil swordsman got close, the other party discovered him and shouted. Evil swordsman made his move. A long sword appeared in his hand, and he slashed out. Sword light filled the sky, and a powerful evil god race member was directly split in half, his soul obliterated. So strong. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. That evil god was definitely a great emperor, but he was killed by evil swordsman in one strike. Although evil swordsman had yet to recover from his serious injuries, his battle strength was still extremely terrifying. This guy was much stronger than he is now at his peak. He is a peerless master in the heaven realm. Of course, compared to me, there is still some gap. He spoke, but he didn't forget to boast at the end. Kill! Evil swordsman shouted, and a terrifying aura burst forth. The world was filled with an indescribable pressure. Evil swordsman was wearing a gray robe and looked very old, but when he attacked, he had a kind of world-dominating temperament. His whole body was filled with evil chi, and his sword light seemed to split the world. Several experts of the evil god race were killed by evil swordsmen in succession. Break! Evil swordsman shouted. A sword light slashed at the void, directly splitting it open. Countless runes appeared there and then exploded one after another. This was the great formation set up by the evil god race, and a section of it had been cut off by evil swordsmen. At the same time, the drill that was formed by the formation also exploded and disappeared. Kill him! The experts of the evil god race roared as their auras exploded forth, shaking the heavens and earth. So many great emperors! Lu Ming was shocked. There were too many great emperors in the evil god tribe, and most of them were extremely terrifying. Their auras were far above that of the great emperors from the Heng family and the Emperor Formless, whom Lu Ming had encountered before. Many of them were definitely advanced great emperors, and some were even peak great emperors. It was terrifying to have so many great emperors working together. However, evil swordsman was even stronger. With an iron sword in his hand, he killed his way into the evil god tribe. Every time he slashed out, an expert would be killed. One sword for one, blood splattered for thousands of miles. The 3 experts from Two-World City also made their move. The cultivation of these three people was extremely profound, and they had powerful combat strength. They were fighting against the evil god tribe. Chapter 22:12. The Evil God Race's Old Ancestor. Chapter 22:12. The Evil God Race's old ancestor. The three from Two World City are all peak emperors, but there are many peak emperors from the evil god tribe. They can only hold back a portion of the power and can't play a crucial role. We still have to rely on evil swordsmen. Dandan sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Even though his current cultivation was far from what it had been in the ancient times, his vision was still there. He could determine his cultivation based on his aura. Surround and kill them. The experts of the evil god race roared. There were at least 4 or 5 of them, and they weren't any weaker than the 3 experts from Two World City. They surrounded evil swordsmen. According to Dandan, they were all peak Great Emperor experts. Evil swordsman's demonic chi became even more intense. Sword light crisscrossed as he fought with his opponent. After a few strikes, a peak emperor was killed by evil swordsman. Although evil swordsman had yet to recover from his injuries, his battle strength was still terrifying. Kill! Evil swordsman let out a long cry, and sword light shot up into the sky. A sword light that was 10,000 li long was extremely terrifying. As the sword slashed out, the void was completely shattered. A large number of evil god race members with weak cultivation bases were swept into the sword light and turned into ashes. Celestial Emperor, it's the Celestial Emperor. How can the Heavenly Emperor come here? Furious roars came from the evil god race and they were filled with disbelief. Too many peerless experts had died in this region in the past, leaving behind their immortal imprints. Once they sensed a powerful expert, these imprints would appear to kill the enemy. This was especially true for the Heavenly Emperor. Once he arrived in this territory, the marks of the experts would sense him and even leave his original place to attack him together and kill him. In the past, there were also people of the Heavenly Emperor realm who came here, but they all died. Of course, the extremely terrifying Heavenly Emperors were the exception. Their strength was not weaker than those peerless experts when they were alive, and might even surpass them. With such strength, they would not be afraid even if those experts were alive, so why would they be afraid after they died? However, evil swordsman's battle strength didn't seem to be that of a peerless expert, and was only equivalent to the most ordinary celestial emperor. How could he have entered this place? Buzz! Buzz! Evil swordsman continued to strike out with his sword, and every time he did so, a member of the evil god race would die under his sword. At the same time, the void continued to shatter, and the formation that the evil god race had set up was also continuously destroyed. Take out the celestial the archweapon. Some of the evil god race members roared. Buzz! Buzz! Several terrifying fluctuations spread out in succession. Then, a giant axe, a mountain, and a saber appeared in the sky. This was a celestial emperor weapon, a weapon controlled by a celestial emperor. It was extremely powerful. The celestial the arch himself could not enter, but the celestial the arch weapon could be brought in. The marks on the celestial emperor weapon would not be able to sense it if it was not revived. Furthermore, it was just an inanimate object, not a living one. The marks would not have any reaction. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 celestial emperor weapons were awakened, and terrifying fluctuations burst forth from them. They gave off the aura of the heavenly Tao as they shot toward evil swordsmen. If a celestial emperor weapon isn't controlled by a celestial emperor, how much power can it unleash? 111 show you the true power of a celestial emperor weapon. Evil swordsman's cold voice rang out, and the long sword in his hand burst out with a shocking sword howl. Buzz! The sword hummed as several terrifying sword lights slashed out from evil swordsman's hands. Thump, thump, thump. After 3 consecutive clashes, the 3 celestial the arch weapons of the evil god race trembled violently and were sent flying. The 3 powerful beings of the evil god race who were controlling the celestial the arch weapons spat out mouthfuls of blood as their bodies cracked and exploded. Without a doubt, The long sword in evil swordsman's hand was also a celestial the arch-weapon. It was controlled by him, and its power was extremely powerful. "You're looking for death." Right at this moment, an explosive roar came from the distance. An extremely terrifying aura rushed over. Then, a huge demonic shadow appeared in the world. The demonic shadow was huge, towering like a mountain. It stood between the heaven and earth and was approaching. "Forefather." The evil god race members were ecstatic. "This is..." Lu Ming's pupils suddenly constricted and his gaze was extremely solemn. When he had passed through that passage and come from the primordial realm, he had seen 4 huge demonic shadows fighting against the 9 divine 9-dragon cauldrons. This demonic shadow was extremely similar to one of the previous 4. Boom! The demonic shadow moved and threw a punch. The void was directly shattered, and the huge fist, wrapped in the void turbulence, smashed toward evil swordsman. At this moment, evil swordsman's eyes were extremely grave. The long sword in his hand kept shaking, and his aura was getting stronger and stronger. Buzz! In the end, evil swordsman slashed out with his sword, and a shocking sword light slashed toward the huge fist. The sword gleam collided with the fist, causing an ear-piercing cutting sound. Although he was still far away, Lu Ming could feel a sharp pain in his eardrums. The blood in his body was boiling, and his body felt like it was about to explode. Dandan also circulated her energy to resist, but she was slightly better than Lu Ming. Bang! Then evil swordsman's sword light shattered, and the remaining power of the fist blasted towards evil swordsman, forcing him to retreat frantically. Not good. Senior evil swordsman is no match for him. Lu Ming's expression was ugly. That's the old ancestor of the evil god race, a peerless expert. However, he should be injured as well, and his battle prowess is far from his peak. Dandan said. Lu Ming understood that the evil god tribe's patriarch must have been injured during the intense battle with the divine 9-dragon cauldron and the huge true dragon in the sky. "You're an ancient antique from the ancient times. Today, they'll send you on your way." The evil god race's old ancestor spoke, and his voice caused the sky to rumble. His body began to shrink, and he became 3 meters tall. His speed increased greatly, and he instantly approached evil swordsman. This was also a purple-scaled being of the evil god race. He wasn't a member of the royal race, but a noble of the evil god race. However, his cultivation base had already reached a terrifying realm. His palm was like a knife, and he struck out a few times towards evil swordsman. Evil swordsman fought with him, but he was no match. After a few moves, evil swordsman was violently shaken and sent flying far away, a trace of blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. Although the evil god race's old ancestor was also injured, his injuries weren't as severe as evil swordsman's. In ancient times, evil swordsman had almost died in battle, and only a wisp of his soul remained. After so many years, he had yet to recover, and his fighting prowess was far from what it had been at his peak. Kill! The evil god race's old master had the upper hand, and his attacks became even more violent. "A junior, this old man will accompany you in battle." Blood trickled down from the corner of evil swordsman's mouth, but his eyes were exceptionally bright. At this moment, a layer of light flickered on his body, burning like a flame. At the same time, evil swordsman's aura also soared. "Evil swordsman, it's time to go all out." Dandan opened her mouth and watched with rapt attention. Buzz! Evil swordsman slashed out with his sword, and a sword light that was several times more terrifying than the previous one slashed toward the evil god race's old ancestor. The evil god race's old ancestor's eyes also became serious. A battle axe appeared in his hand, and he charged towards evil swordsman. Clang, clang. The two experts exploded with terrifying rumbles as they engaged in a fierce battle. For a moment, it was difficult to determine the victor. The two of them rushed into the depths of the sky and fought. The rest of the evil god tribe charged towards the 3 experts of Two World City. The 3 experts of Two World City were in a precarious situation. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.